Good afternoon and welcome to Blackstock Stadium here in Newcastle, Indiana. There's a big game today, but for 8,000 folks and two good football teams, this is the game of the day. I'm Bob Lamey. I'm going to be your play-by-play host this afternoon. And alongside, on both sides, the two radio voices of the two clubs, Joe Emmick from Wabash and Scott MacGregor from DePauw. It's been an up-and-down year for Wabash. They're at 500, and Joe, it has been one of those seasons for them.
Indeed it has, Bob. 1993 began with the Little Giants seeking a third ICAC title. What happened? A roller coaster year resulting to this point in a 4-win, 4-loss record. Let's take a look at the Little Giants season. Wabash began the 1993 football season with high hopes, 2 straight ICAC titles, and 9 starters returning on an offense which led the league. However, Wabash's league-leading defense was ravaged by graduation, leaving only 4 returning starters. Led by the running combination of junior running back David Kogan, sophomore quarterback Chris Ings, and an offensive line with 3 3-year starters, Wabash opened the season with a home game against Wisconsin-Eau Claire, a huge state school with 11,000 students. Things started well for Wabash as Ings found senior receiver Eric Snively with a 27-yard touchdown pass for an early Little Giant lead. However, the Blue Golds bullied Wabash with a powerful running game, which produced a 29-19 victory. Wabash traveled to Albion College the following weekend. 7th-ranked Britons were 2-0, but the Little Giants jumped to a 10-0 lead behind a 38-yard Ings to Chris Wiesahan touchdown pass. Albion claimed a 24-20 halftime lead en route to a 50-35 victory. Starting the season with an 0-2 record is nothing new for Wabash, since the Little Giants had started similarly in 1991 and 1992 and still claimed ICAC championships. Powerful Hope team and a rainy, cold day wasn't quite what Greg Carlson had in mind to get off the losing streak. However, tailback David Kogan scored both Wabash touchdowns in a 13-12 victory. On the downside, junior defensive end Jason Shelton was lost for the season with a badly injured knee. Wabash next ventured to North Manchester to open the ICAC season. Wabash's defense extended their scoreless quarter streak to 5 straight quarters before allowing a Manchester touchdown. By then, Ings, Kogan, Snively, and Wiesahan had put enough points on the board for a 22-7 Wabash victory. Wabash headed to Franklin next, and for the second time in the season, Wabash's offense would put up over 400 yards and 35 points, and the result would be a loss, this time 49-35. Kogan was a bright spot, rushing for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wabash's plan against Hanover was to run, and run the Little Giants did. Kogan and rookie Pat Pinus combined for 403 yards rushing and a convincing 55-21 Wabash win. Moreover, Wabash's young defensive unit grew up in one short week. It was a total team effort, the offense churning out 603 yards and the defense forcing 6 turnovers. Homecoming at Wabash is traditionally marked by chapel sing, homecoming floats, and of course the Queen contest. The game against Anderson was a battle of 2 offensive giants, though Anderson's offense proved to be a bit more powerful. Despite a big rushing effort from Kogan, Wabash's defense would give up big play after big play in a 48-34 Raven victory. Worse than even the loss itself was the loss of linebacker Sean Satterfield and running back David Kogan, both to knee injuries. Needing a win in the worst way, Wabash faced its biggest challenge of the year when venturing to Terre Haute to meet pesky Rose Holman in the game before the big one. Wabash needed a win to even its record at 4-4 and got a truly inspirational effort in a 17-13 Little Giant victory. Rose Holman's running game looked great, but Keith Shelton's diving tackle after a 49-yard run proved to be a big play. Rose Holman was later stopped on 4th and goal at the 1-yard line, while another engineered drive was thwarted by a Greg Benitez interception. After an Alex Costa field goal, Ings took Wabash on an 80-yard drive, scoring from 6 yards out for a 10-7 lead. Pinus, who gained 138 yards on the day, scampered 42 yards for his first collegiate touchdown to ice the victory.
Well, it's been a disappointing season for the DePauw Tigers. With a 2-7 record coming into today's game, the Tigers are certainly the underdogs against a strong Wabash team. But a win today against the Little Giants could make DePauw's entire season a success.
The 1993 season began with uncertainty for the DePauw Tigers. The questions began with a young Tiger defense that returned only 2 starters from a squad that played gutsy, if not flashy, football in 1992. The outlook was brighter on offense, where senior quarterbacks Brian Lansue and Brian Goodman, running backs Ronnie Herman and Sean Gardner, and a talented receiving corps all returned to lead a Tiger offense that promised to be one of the best in the league. With Lansue starting at quarterback, DePauw opened its season September 11th at Blackstock Stadium against Hope College. The Tigers moved the ball well at times, Lansue connecting with Bradley Hill for a 12-yard TD pass in the second quarter. The Tigers failed to score again in the second half and gave up 248 rushing yards to a powerful Hope running attack on their way to a 21-10 loss. The Tigers traveled to Jackson, Mississippi the next weekend for a matchup with Millsaps College. The Majors blocked 2 Matt Roussel punts and capitalized on 7 DePauw turnovers, while running back Kelvin Gladney scored 6 touchdowns in a 45-0 splattering of the Old Gold. Things didn't get any easier the next week as DePauw returned home to face nationally ranked Albion College. The Tiger defense was much improved from the previous 2 weeks, but the highly touted offense could muster only 177 yards and gave up 7 turnovers in the 28-0 loss. For the first time since 1977, the DePauw Tigers had started the season 0-3. A different Tiger team took the field as DePauw began the ICAC season against Hanover at home. Impressive performances by Gardner and Herman led the Old Gold to a 21-14 victory over the Panthers. The defense was again much improved, racking up 4 sacks of Hanover quarterback Scott Isfording, but more importantly, the win was the 80th career victory for head coach Nick Morozes, who moved ahead of the legendary Raymond Gaumy-Neal as DePauw's all-time winningest coach. Next up for DePauw was Rose Holman, an ICAC foe with a potent running game. Despite a good all-around effort from Sean Gardner and a late Brian Lansue to Bradley Hill touchdown pass, turnovers and penalties put the Tigers on the losing end of a 25-23 score. An Old Gold Day matchup with Taylor was next for the Tigers, who scored 23 points and amassed 230 yards in an impressive fourth-quarter come-from-behind victory. The win provided by Ben Fingerhut's 39-yard field goal as time expired. But the real story of the game was the resurgence of the offense behind the direction of Lansu, whose TD run was an important factor in DePauw's comeback, as were Gardner's 2 fourth-quarter scores in the 29-26 win. The Tigers next traveled to Manchester and appeared to pick up where they had left off the week before, marching 75 yards to score on the first possession of the game. But turnovers and sloppy tackling led to a second-half self-destruction, and despite a late Tiger comeback attempt, Manchester romped to a 28-19 win. It was the same story again the next week as DePauw traveled to the frozen tundra of Mackholt Stadium to take on the undefeated Anderson Ravens. Behind tailback Thomas Lee, the Ravens ran the ball at will against the Tigers, en route to a 35-3 shellacking of DePauw. DePauw returned home last week to take on a Franklin team that had shown a weakness to the pass. Lansu replaced Goodman midway through the first half and sparked the Tigers to 3 touchdowns. But it would be the Franklin passing game that would decide the outcome in downing DePauw 40-18. Frustrated by their own mistakes, the Tigers left the field in anger and despair, knowing that only a win in the Monon Bell game could salvage what has been a disappointing season.
Part of the charm of this game is the fact we can get on the sideline and let you know exactly what's happening. We've got 2 fine fellows who are going to handle that today. Gregor Mann represents DePauw, and Brian Foley represents Wabash. Let's find out what's on those guys' minds right now.
Thanks, Bob. The Wabash coaching staff feels like the keys in today's ball game are to establish the running game early. To do this, the offensive line is going to have to execute. Kogan needs to stay healthy, and Chris Ings is going to have to hit the short passes in the early going. Defensively, they want to contain Ronnie Herman in the running game of DePauw. They also want to avoid the big plays in the early going. Coach Carlson believes that if Wabash can do these things, then the Bell will stay in Crawfordsville.
Thanks, Brian. In talking with DePauw coaches and players this week, I got the overwhelming sense that they're very confident with the players' ability. They know they have the talent for the game. The question is, can DePauw play 60 minutes of consistent team football? If they can do this, they have a possibility of winning. But neither the coaches nor the players know the answer, so we're just going to have to wait and see. Now back to you, Bob.
Welcome back to Blackstock Stadium again. We're just moments away from kickoff today as Wabash takes on DePauw. At stake, the Monon Bell. The 100th game. 45 wins each team and 9 ties. 2 fine folk will be in the stands talking to the alums who have seen any number of these 100 games. Amanda Lotz will represent DePauw, and in the Wabash stands, John Bradley.
Thanks, Bob. Pretend for a moment that it is 1890. Football games last only an hour, and anyone can run with the ball. The word quarterback doesn't even exist. And if you don't want to tackle, you can slap, scratch, and kick.
But it is 40 years before Coach Neal suggests putting girls on the defense. So just the boys meet down at the football field, some from DePauw, some from Wabash, and a family feud is born.
I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day.
1890. At the pep rally, they party too. I've been working on the railroad, and when the Saints go marching in. Then the Wabash Presbyterians jog onto the field without their slingshot. They are trampled by the Giant Methodist, 34-5. Depressed by the plight of the little men, Vincent Van Gogh shoots himself. But it isn't Wabash's fault. The preachers of DePauw weigh 200 pounds on average.
The century turns. The screaming people are first called cheerleaders. The party song is Pomp and Circumstance. For picking on men twice their size, Coach Francis Caillou dubs his team the Little Giants in 1904. The next year, they stampede the Methodists 52-0. An Indiana law permits the state to sterilize male inmates, so aggressive men forget about a life of crime and stick to sports.
1920. With 3 minutes left, DePauw quarterback Galloway boots a 52-yard drop kick to win the game. Inspired, a lady named Katie bench presses 286 pounds. Hoosier women are granted suffrage. A stranger rides into town on the back of Prohibition, Pete Vaughn, who becomes the winningest coach in Wabash history. He compiles a 27-year record of 113 wins, 85 losses, and 24 ties. The Little Giants hold DePauw scoreless from 1921 to 1926. The result? The Great Depression.
The 1930s. Something remarkable happens. The first cow flies in an airplane. Alka-Seltzer is invented in Elkhart, Indiana.
Happy days are here again.
And best of all, Gami Neal, ex-Wabash team captain and assistant to Coach Pete Vaughn, becomes head coach at DePauw. He whoops the Scarlets 7-6 and compiles a 16-year record of 79 wins, 34 losses, and 7 ties.
In 1932, the Monon Railroad, which runs through Greencastle and Crawfordsville, donates a 350-pound locomotive bell to be used as a prize for the winner of the game.
Oh, up and down the Monon, everything is fine, 'cause that rootin' tootin' Monon, she's a Hoosier line.
The snowy game ends in a scoreless tie. Maybe next year.
1933. Professors earned $3,000 on average, but John Dillinger's gun earned $75,000 from the Central National Bank of Greencastle. The Old Gold Posse hops a Monon train and arrives in Crawfordsville with a 50-piece band. They hang 'em high, 14-0, and end the last undefeated, untied, unscored-upon season in the history of college football.
Time to drop kick Hitler. Americans are told to use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. So DePauw builds Blackstock Stadium.
My sunshine, my only sunshine.
Both NFL and Big Ten football players are in Navy training at DePauw, so the school has a monster football team. The offense averages 402 yards per game. The standout player is Chicago Bear Bob Stuber, who leads DePauw to a 33-0 Monon Bell victory. He rushes an average of 216 yards per game, making Fats Domino sing, "Ain't That a Shame."
Halftime, the 20th century. Joseph McCarthy secretly accuses Nat King Cole of sending subversive messages in his hit song Mona Lisa. He's right. Wabash wins 6 straight bells for Lisa, putting a red scare in the Tigers' heart.
1951. Coach Frazier's Little Giants are unbeaten. Stan Boomer Huntsman, who rushes 248 yards against DPU, is called the greatest athlete in Wabash history. He goes on to coach the U.S. Olympic track and field team, and then to coach the world.
Well, don't you know? That's the sound of the night, working on the chain.
1955. The minimum wage rises to $1. The Indiana State Police invent the breathalyzer, which causes the song Rock Around the Clock to fall off the charts. Fred Williams boots a famous field goal as time expires to give the Tigers a Monon victory, 23-20.
In 1960, Coach Tommy Mott lets the fans call the key play of the game, and their go for it results in a Tiger win, 14-13. Coach Mott earns his dollar.
In 1966, DePauw's Tim Feemster kicks a 22-yard field goal in the final 28 seconds for a 9-7 DePauw win. Wabash fans scream instant replay, and the phrase becomes part of football terminology.
All we are saying.
In 1967, the term juked is coined when Wabash jukes DePauw 7-0. This mud wrestling is the last Monon Bell shutout.
Give peace a chance.
From 1976 to 86, the Tigers only win twice. It is the golden age of Wabash football. The Cavemen 1977 team has quarterback Dave Harvey, who makes passes in record numbers. In 1980, Giant coach Parrish has an undefeated season, but DPU spoils his playoff chances by tying the game, taking their ball, and going home. Finally, Parrish has his undefeated, untied season in 1982.
1981, Nick Morozes becomes head coach at DePauw. 2 years later, Greg Carlson becomes head coach of the Little Giants. DePauw wins its first ICAC title in 1990, and Wabash wins back-to-back ICAC titles in 1991 and 1992.
Carlson is second only to Pete Vaughn as the winningest coach in Wabash history. As of this year, Morozes is the winningest coach in DePauw history. One of their records should improve today.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old
There's nothing better than a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon with a place packed. And that's what we've got here at Blackstock Stadium. Wabash and DePauw, the 100th meeting, the Monon Bell game. Many think this is the big game in the state of Indiana today, and there'll be two teams trying to prove it. It has been a long series. How many can say that series are tied? 99 games in, there are 45 wins aside with 9 ties, including last year's 17-17 deadlock. That game played at Wabash. Both of the coaches have said, not this year. No tie this year. Somebody needs to win. Joe Emmick is alongside, and he has seen Wabash all year long. Wabash goes in as the favorite, Joe, but that doesn't mean anything in this game.
You're very right in that regard, Bob, especially today when DePauw needs this game to really salvage what has been a dreadful season for them. For Wabash, it's been a roller coaster year. They've been putting up huge offensive numbers, as you see, 450 yards per game, 256 rushing yards, but the defense has been the problem. It's a small, young defense. It's been giving up a lot of points. The key for the Wabash defense today is to force turnovers. The DePauw Tigers, Scott MacGregor, have been turnover prone all year long.
That's right, Joe. The Tigers come into today's game minus 21 in the turnover department. That means they've given the ball up 21 more times than their opponents. You see on the screen, they've compiled 349 net yards. We're going to have the national anthem right now.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous skies, where the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets were clear from a thirsty air. They flew through the night, and at last was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the brave and the home of the brave.
As I was saying, the Tigers are averaging about 350 yards per game, and that's pretty good. They've been moving the ball pretty well, but they've had trouble inside the 20-yard line. They've been there 26 times this season and scored only 12 of those 26 times. 3 of those drives have ended in interceptions and 1 on a fumble. And Joe, you're right about the turnovers. It's killed the Tigers at key times this year, and Wabash will need to capitalize on those to win today.
Quarterbacks this afternoon, Chris Ings will get the start for Wabash, and Brian Lansu will start for DePauw. Both are veterans, both in Monon Bell games have played very well. Joe, you've seen Chris Ings run, pass, he can do it all.
He is as fine an athlete as you'll see on the Division III collegiate football level. You see his numbers, very impressive not only throwing the football, but in rushing the football. He's one of the nation's total offense leaders in Division III football. So Chris Ings, after 2 years, already one of the best quarterbacks in Wabash history.
Lansu and Brian Goodman, the choice was tough. Lansu gets the call. Is there a reason you think, Scotty, why one over the other?
Well, Lansu came off the bench last weekend in a 40-18 loss to Franklin, and he came off and sparked the Tigers to 3 touchdowns, and that's why Coach Morozes decided to go with him today.
The field is a little wet. We've had some overnight rain here, and that means the running game really comes into key. Not only the run, but the fumbles off the run. But for Wabash, a big shot in the arm. It came officially last night. David Cogan will play.
David Cogan, the catalyst of this offense, who is within just a few yards of 1,000 for the season, will start today, as you see the seniors from DePauw being introduced here in their final home game.
DePauw's running game centers on really 2 players, Ronnie Herman, Sean Gardner. DePauw's team has already been out on the field. You see they're wearing the black with the gold. Wabash making their appearance, and Joe, the white jerseys are okay, but the red pants, we haven't seen that before.
You're right, Bob. We'll hear from our stands reporter a little later in the show about the alumni campaign to generate the funds for these 100th Monon Bell uniforms. The red pants on the road are new. Wabash wears white on the road, but these are new jerseys with special lettering and logos on them to celebrate the 100th Monon Bell game.
The flip of the coin as Wabash and DePauw will determine who is going to get the football for the start of this first quarter. And the captains out there, 4 of them representing DePauw and tri-captains for Wabash. Flip of the coin. It's Good afternoon and welcome to Blackstock Stadium here in Castle, Indiana. The big game today, but for 8,000 folks and 2 good football teams, this is the game of the day. I'm Bob Lamey. I'm going to be your play-by-play host this afternoon, and alongside, on both sides, the 2 radio voices of the 2 clubs, Joe Emmick from Wabash and Scott MacGregor from DePauw. It's been an up-and-down year for Wabash. They're at 500, and Joe, it has been one of those seasons for them.
Indeed it has, Bob. 1993 began with the Little Giants seeking a 3rd ICAC title. What happened? A roller coaster year resulting to this point in a 4-win, 4-loss record. Let's take a look at the Little Giants season. Wabash began the 1993 football season with high hopes, 2 straight ICAC titles, and 9 starters returning on an offense which led the league. However, Wabash's league-leading defense was ravaged by graduation, leaving only 4 returning starters. Led by the running combination of junior running back David Kogan, sophomore quarterback Chris Ings, and an offensive line with three-year starters, Wabash opened the season with a home game against Wisconsin-Eau Claire, a huge state school with 11,000 students. Things started well for Wabash as Ings found senior receiver Eric Snively with a 27-yard touchdown pass for an early Little Giant lead. However, the Blue Golds bullied Wabash with a powerful running game, which produced a 29-19 victory. Wabash traveled to Albion College the following weekend. 7th-ranked Britons were 2-0, but the Little Giants jumped to a 10-0 lead behind a 38-yard Ings to Chris Wiesahan touchdown pass. Albion claimed a 24-20 halftime lead en route to a 50-35 victory. Starting the season with an 0-2 record is nothing new for Wabash, since the Little Giants had started similarly in 1991 and 1992 and still claimed ICAC championships. Powerful Hope team and a rainy, cold day wasn't quite what Greg Carlson had in mind to get off the losing streak. However, tailback David Kogan scored both Wabash touchdowns in a 13-12 victory. On the downside, junior defensive end Jason Shelton was lost for the season with a badly injured knee. Wabash next ventured to North Manchester to open the ICAC season. Wabash's defense extended their scoreless quarter streak to 5 straight quarters before allowing a Manchester touchdown. By then, Ings, Kogan, Snively, and Wiesahan had put enough points on the board for a 22-7 Wabash victory. Wabash headed to Franklin next, and for the second time in the season, Wabash's offense would put up over 400 yards and 35 points, and the result would be a loss, this time 49-35. Kogan was a bright spot, rushing for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wabash's plan against Hanover was to run, and run the Little Giants did. Kogan and rookie Pat Pinus combined for 403 yards rushing and a convincing 55-21 Wabash win. Moreover, Wabash's young defensive unit grew up in one short week. It was a total team effort, the offense churning out 603 yards and the defense forcing 6 turnovers. Homecoming at Wabash is traditionally marked by chapel sing, homecoming floats, and of course the Queen contest. The game against Anderson was a battle of 2 offensive giants, though Anderson's offense proved to be a bit more powerful. Despite a big rushing effort from Kogan, Wabash's defense would give up big play after big play in a 48-34 Raven victory. Worse than even the loss itself was the loss of linebacker Sean Satterfield and running back David Kogan, both to knee injuries. Needing a win in the worst way, Wabash faced its biggest challenge of the year when venturing to Terre Haute to meet pesky Rose Holman in the game before the big one. Wabash needed a win to even its record at 4-4 and got a truly inspirational effort in a 17-13 Little Giant victory. Rose Holman's running game looked great, but Keith Shelton's diving tackle after a 49-yard run proved to be a big play. Rose Holman was later stopped on 4th and goal at the 1-yard line, while another engineered drive was thwarted by a Greg Benitez interception. After an Alex Costa field goal, Ings took Wabash on an 80-yard drive, scoring from 6 yards out for a 10-7 lead. Pinus, who gained 138 yards on the day, scampered 42 yards for his first collegiate touchdown to ice the victory.
Well, it's been a disappointing season for the DePauw Tigers. With a 2-7 record coming into today's game, the Tigers are certainly the underdogs against a strong Wabash team. But a win today against the Little Giants could make DePauw's entire season a success.
The 1993 season began with uncertainty for the DePauw Tigers. The questions began with a young Tiger defense that returned only 2 starters from a squad that played gutsy, if not flashy, football in 1992. The outlook was brighter on offense, where senior quarterbacks Brian Lansue and Brian Goodman, running backs Ronnie Herman and Sean Gardner, and a talented receiving corps all returned to lead a Tiger offense that promised to be one of the best in the league. With Lansue starting at quarterback, DePauw opened its season September 11th at Blackstock Stadium against Hope College. The Tigers moved the ball well at times, Lansue connecting with Bradley Hill for a 12-yard TD pass in the second quarter. The Tigers failed to score again in the second half and gave up 248 rushing yards to a powerful Hope running attack on their way to a 21-10 loss. The Tigers traveled to Jackson, Mississippi the next weekend for a matchup with Millsaps College. The Majors blocked 2 Matt Roussel punts and capitalized on 7 DePauw turnovers, while running back Kelvin Gladney scored 6 touchdowns in a 45-0 splattering of the Old Gold. Things didn't get any easier the next week as DePauw returned home to face nationally ranked Albion College. The Tiger defense was much improved from the previous 2 weeks, but the highly touted offense could muster only 177 yards and gave up 7 turnovers in the 28-0 loss. For the first time since 1977, the DePauw Tigers had started the season 0-3. A different Tiger team took the field as DePauw began the ICAC season against Hanover at home. Impressive performances by Gardner and Herman led the Old Gold to a 21-14 victory over the Panthers. The defense was again much improved, racking up 4 sacks of Hanover quarterback Scott Isfording, but more importantly, the win was the 80th career victory for head coach Nick Morozes, who moved ahead of the legendary Raymond Gaumy-Neal as DePauw's all-time winningest coach. Next up for DePauw was Rose Holman, an ICAC foe with a potent running game. Despite a good all-around effort from Sean Gardner and a late Brian Lansue to Bradley Hill touchdown pass, turnovers and penalties put the Tigers on the losing end of a 25-23 score. An Old Gold Day matchup with Taylor was next for the Tigers, who scored 23 points and amassed 230 yards in an impressive fourth-quarter come-from-behind victory. The win provided by Ben Fingerhut's 39-yard field goal as time expired. But the real story of the game was the resurgence of the offense behind the direction of Lansue, whose TD run was an important factor in DePauw's comeback, as were Gardner's 2 fourth-quarter scores in the 29-26 win. The Tigers next traveled to Manchester and appeared to pick up where they had left off the week before, marching 75 yards to score on the first possession of the game. But turnovers and sloppy tackling led to a second-half self-destruction, and despite a late Tiger comeback attempt, Manchester romped to a 28-19 win. It was the same story again the next week as DePauw traveled to the frozen tundra of MacGregor Stadium to take on the undefeated Anderson Ravens. Behind tailback Thomas Lee, the Ravens ran the ball at will against the Tigers, en route to a 35-3 shellacking of DePauw. DePauw returned home last week to take on a Franklin team that had shown a weakness to the pass. Lansue replaced Goodman midway through the first half and sparked the Tigers to 3 touchdowns. But it would be the Franklin passing game that would decide the outcome in downing DePauw 40-18. Frustrated by their own mistakes, the Tigers left the field in anger and despair, knowing that only a win in the Monon Bell game could salvage what has been a disappointing season.
Part of the charm of this game is the fact we can get on the sideline and let you know exactly what's happening. We've got 2 fine fellows who are going to handle that today. Gregor Mann represents DePauw, and Brian Foley represents Wabash. Let's find out what's on those guys' minds right now.
Thanks, Bob. The Wabash coaching staff feels like the keys in today's ball game are to establish the running game early. To do this, the offensive line is going to have to execute. Kogan needs to stay healthy, and Chris Ings is going to have to hit the short passes in the early going. Defensively, they want to contain Ronnie Herman in the running game of DePauw. They also want to avoid the big plays in the early going. Coach Carlson believes that if Wabash can do these things, then the Bell will stay in Crawfordsville.
Thanks, Brian. In talking with DePauw coaches and players this week, I got the overwhelming sense that they're very confident with the players' ability. They know they have the talent for the game. The question is, can DePauw play 60 minutes of consistent team football? If they can do this, they have a possibility of winning. But neither the coaches nor the players know the answer, so we're just going to have to wait and see. Now back to you, Bob.
Welcome back to Blackstock Stadium again. We're just moments away from kickoff today as Wabash takes on DePauw. At stake, the Monon Bell. The 100th game. 45 wins each team and 9 ties. 2 fine folk will be in the stands talking to the alums who have seen any number of these 100 games. Amanda Lotz will represent DePauw, and in the Wabash stands, John Bradley.
Thanks, Bob. Pretend for a moment that it is 1890. Football games last only an hour, and anyone can run with the ball. The word quarterback doesn't even exist. And if you don't want to tackle, you can slap, scratch, and kick.
But it is 40 years before Coach Neal suggests putting girls on the defense. So just the boys meet down at the football field, some from DePauw, some from Wabash, and a family feud is born.
I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day.
1890. At the pep rally, they party too. I've been working on the railroad, and when the Saints go marching in. Then the Wabash Presbyterians jog onto the field without their slingshot. They are trampled by the giant Methodist, 34-5. Depressed by the plight of the little men, Vincent Van Gogh shoots himself. But it isn't Wabash's fault. The preachers of DePauw weigh 200 pounds on average.
The century turns. The screaming people are first called cheerleaders. The party song is Pomp and Circumstance. For picking on men twice their size, Coach Francis Caillou dubs his team the Little Giants in 1904. The next year, they stampede the Methodists 52-0. An Indiana law permits the state to sterilize male inmates, so aggressive men forget about a life of crime and stick to sports.
1920. With 3 minutes left, DePauw quarterback Galloway boots a 52-yard drop kick to win the game. Inspired, a lady named Katie bench presses 286 pounds. Hoosier women are granted suffrage. A stranger rides into town on the back of Prohibition, Pete Vaughn, who becomes the winningest coach in Wabash history. He compiles a 27-year record of 113 wins, 85 losses, and 24 ties. The Little Giants hold DePauw scoreless from 1921 to 1926. The result? The Great Depression.
The 1930s. Something remarkable happens. The first cow flies in an airplane. Alka-Seltzer is invented in Elkhart, Indiana.
Happy days are here again.
And best of all, Gami Neal, ex-Wabash team captain and assistant to Coach Pete Vaughn, becomes head coach at DePauw. He whoops the Scarlets 7-6 and compiles a 16-year record of 79 wins, 34 losses, and 7 ties.
In 1932, the Monon Railroad, which runs through Greencastle and Crawfordsville, donates a 350-pound locomotive bell to be used as a prize for the winner of the game.
Oh, up and down the Monon, everything is fine, 'cause that rootin' tootin' Monon, she's a Hoosier line. Oh,
the snowy game ends in a scoreless tie. Maybe next year.
1933. Professors earned $3,000 on average, but John Dillinger's gun earned $75,000 from the Central National Bank of Greencastle. The Old Gold Posse hops a Monon train and arrives in Crawfordsville with a 50-piece band. They hang 'em high, 14-0, and end the last undefeated, untied, unscored-upon season in the history of college football.
Time to drop kick Hitler. Americans are told to use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. So DePauw builds Blackstock Stadium.
You're my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Both NFL and Big Ten football players are in Navy training at DePauw, so the school has a monster football team. The offense averages 402 yards per game. The standout player is Chicago Bear Bob Stuber, who leads DePauw to a 33-0 Monon Bell victory. He rushes an average of 216 yards per game, making Fats Domino sing, "Ain't That a Shame?"
Halftime, the 20th century. Joseph McCarthy secretly accuses Nat King Cole of sending subversive messages in his hit song Mona Lisa. He's right. Wabash wins 6 straight bells for Lisa, putting a red scare in the Tigers' heart.
1951. Coach Frazier's Little Giants are unbeaten. Stan Boomer Huntsman, who rushes 248 yards against DPU, is called the greatest athlete in Wabash history. He goes on to coach the U.S. Olympic track and field team, and then to coach the world.
Well, don't you know? That's the sound of loving men working on the chain.
1955. The minimum wage rises to $1. The Indiana State Police invent the breathalyzer, which causes the song Rock Around the Clock to fall off the charts. Fred Williams boots a famous field goal as time expires to give the Tigers a Monon victory, 23-20.
In 1960, Coach Tommy Mott lets the fans call the key play of the game, and their go for it results in a Tiger win, 14-13. Coach Mott earns his dollar.
In 1966, DePauw's Tim Feemster kicks a 22-yard field goal in the final 28 seconds for a 9-7 DePauw win. Wabash fans scream instant replay, and the phrase becomes part of football terminology.
we are saying.
In 1967, the term juked is coined when Wabash jukes DePauw 7-0. This mud wrestling is the last Monon Bell shutout.
Is give peace a chance.
From 1976 to 86, the Tigers only win twice. It is the golden age of Wabash football. The Cavemen 1977 team has quarterback Dave Harvey, who makes passes in record numbers. In 1980, Giant coach Parrish has an undefeated season, but DPU spoils his playoff chances by tying the game, taking their ball, and going home. Finally, Parrish has his undefeated, untied season in 1982.
1981, Nick Morozes becomes head coach at DePauw. 2 years later, Greg Carlson becomes head coach of the Little Giants. DePauw wins its first ICAC title in 1990, and Wabash wins back-to-back ICAC titles in 1991 and 1992.
Carlson is second only to Pete Vaughn as the winningest coach in Wabash history. As of this year, Morozes is the winningest coach in DePauw history. One of their records should improve today.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne.
There's nothing better than a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon with a place packed. And that's what we've got here at Blackstock Stadium. Wabash and DePauw, the 100th meeting, the Monon Bell game. Many think this is the big game in the state of Indiana today, and there'll be two teams trying to prove it. It has been a long series. How many can say that series are tied? 99 games in, there are 45 wins aside with 9 ties, including last year's 17-17 deadlock. That game played at Wabash. Both of the coaches have said, not this year. No tie this year. Somebody needs to win. Joe Emmick is alongside, and he has seen Wabash all year long. Wabash goes in as the favorite, Joe, but that doesn't mean anything in this game.
You're very right in that regard, Bob, especially today when DePauw needs this game to really salvage what has been a dreadful season for them. For Wabash, it's been a roller coaster year. They've been putting up huge offensive numbers, as you see, 450 yards per game, 256 rushing yards, but the defense has been the problem. It's a small, young defense. It's been giving up a lot of points. The key for the Wabash defense today is to force turnovers. The DePauw Tigers, Scott MacGregor, have been turnover prone all year long.
That's right, Joe. The Tigers come into today's game minus 21 in the turnover department. That means they've given the ball up 21 more times than their opponents. You see on the screen, they've compiled 349 net yards. We're going to have the national anthem right now.
And bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we marched, were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets red glare from a thirsty air. They curved through the night and a flash was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the brave and the home of the brave?
As I was saying, the Tigers are averaging about 350 yards per game, and that's pretty good. They've been moving the ball pretty well, but they've had trouble inside the 20-yard line. They've been there 26 times this season and scored only 12 of those 26 times. 3 of those drives have ended in interceptions and 1 on a fumble. And Joe, you're right about the turnovers. It's killed the Tigers at key times this year, and Wabash will need to capitalize on those to win today.
Quarterbacks this afternoon, Chris Ings will get the start for Wabash, and Brian Lansu will start for DePauw. Both are veterans, both in Monon Bell games have played very well. Joe, you've seen Chris Ings run, pass, he can do it all.
He is as fine an athlete as you'll see on the Division III collegiate football level. You see his numbers, very impressive not only throwing the football, but in rushing the football. He's one of the nation's total offense leaders in Division III football. So Chris Ings, after 2 years, already one of the best quarterbacks in Wabash history.
Lansu and Brian Goodman, the choice was tough. Lansu gets the call. Is there a reason you think, Scotty, why one over the other?
Well, Lansu came off the bench last weekend in a 40-18 loss to Franklin, and he came off and sparked the Tigers to 3 touchdowns, and that's why Coach Morozes decided to go with him today.
The field is a little wet. We've had some overnight rain here, and that means the running game really comes into key. Not only the run, but the fumbles off the run. But for Wabash, a big shot in the arm. It came officially last night. David Kogan will play.
David Kogan, the catalyst of this offense, who is within just a few yards of 1,000 for the season, will start today. As you see, the seniors from DePauw being introduced here in their final home game.
DePauw's running game centers on really 2 players, Ronnie Herman, Sean Gardner. DePauw's team has already been out on the field. You see they're wearing the black with the gold. Wabash making their appearance, and Joe, the white jerseys are okay, but the red pants, we haven't seen that before.
You're right, Bob. We'll hear from our stands reporter a little later in the show about the alumni campaign to generate the funds for these 100th Monon Bell uniforms. The red pants on the road are new. Wabash wears white on the road, but these are new jerseys with special lettering and logos on them to celebrate the 100th Monon Bell game.
The flip of the coin as Wabash and DePauw will determine who is going to get the football for the start of this first quarter. And the captains out there, 4 of them representing DePauw and tri-captains for Wabash. Flip of the coin, it's in the air. We'll see in just a moment who has won the toss. The discussion, well, DePauw has won the toss. And DePauw, I believe, is going to receive. They're going to take the football. So we are just about ready for what promises to be a great Saturday afternoon here in Indiana. Stay tuned here at Blackstock Stadium. Obviously, we're getting ready for the opening kickoff. We'll be back after this short break. This is the Monon Bell Television Network. Bob Lamey back here at Blackstock Stadium. We're ready for the opening kickoff. Alex Costa will do the honors, kicking off from the 35-yard line for Wabash. He's got a wind behind him that has been gusting up around 20 miles an hour. It is overcast, misting from time to time, but it is not at the moment raining. Bradley Hill deep on the far side and Ronnie Herman on the near side, and the upbacks, Melchiori and Gardner. They are standing at about the 20-yard line. The 2 deep men back around the goal line. Remember, it is a little bit of a slick field here this afternoon. We'll find out very early how much of a play that's going to be as Costa approaches, puts his foot into it, and squibs one down the middle. Bounces all the way to Herman, who scoops it up one-handed at about the 8. To the 10, 15, near side of the 20. Run into and knocked down by Ryan Pitcock just across the 20-yard line and knocked down at about the 21 or 22, and that's where DePauw will take the field.
We see starting on the offensive line for DePauw, Rob Cellini, Pat Roberts, Dan Elmore, Greg Amonette, Dan Wees, and Jay Pettigrew, the freshman, is the tight end. The quarterback will not be Brian Goodman. It will be Brian Lansu. Ronnie Herman's the running back. Sean Gardner, the fullback. Hill is the flanker, and Jamie Kuna, sophomore, is the split end.
Right off the bat, DePauw looking to get someone out to help him out with the offense, as they'll break the huddle with Hill split wide to the left side. Gardner, the lone running back, and a double tight end. They give it off up the middle to Gardner. He's got a couple of tight yards as he gets across the 25 to about the 26-yard line. Following the blocking up front, Dan Weiss put a good block on to clear the way out to the 26-yard line.
Here we'll now take a look at the Wabash defensive lineup. The front 7, Ryan Pitcock on the outside, a Greencastle native. Middle linebacker Bill Warren needs to make a big contribution today. And we'll check the secondary in just a moment.
2nd down and 6 for DePauw at their own 26-yard line. First possession of the day. Again, they give up the middle, and again, some very tough yards in the middle out to about the 29, which would be a pickup of 3 and set up 3rd down and about 2. Brian Lansu has given the ball to Sean Gardner twice, and he has carried the load so far.
Expect to see Gardner get the ball a lot today, especially up the middle. Tigers have to establish that running game against this Wabash defense. It's very young.
They put the ball down at the 29, make it a long 2, almost 3 yards on 3rd down. Lansu again to Gardner up the front. He dives out to about the 32, and I think he's got DePauw's first down of the afternoon. It is a first down for the Tigers. The ball at their own 32-yard line. DePauw 1st and 10.
Again, the Tigers have moved the ball fairly well this year, especially on the first drive in the last few games. They have only one first-quarter score this season, Bob, and so look for them to try and get the ball up the middle into the end zone on this drive.
Scotty, a little surprised they came out with a double tight end with David Fahey on the right at the moment and Pettigrew on the left. Again, the one back. 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. Lansu play action, fakes, looks to throw deep. He's going to air it out deep down the right side. Chad Bush intercepts. Chad Bush picks it off just at about the 31-yard line of Wabash. Virtually as good as a punt, but since it was a first down play, the Little Giants have come up with the first big break. Chad Bush with the pickoff at the Wabash 31-yard line. And Lansu and Goodman both have struggled. Between them now have thrown 20 interceptions this year.
Again, Lansu throwing another interception, his 11th of the year. You see him step back. He's got some time. Then he's going to get some pressure up the middle. And he puts it up, and it's just picked off by the Wabash defender. As you see Dave Fahey trying to go up for it. Looked like a little contact there, not enough to call the penalty. Wabash comes up with it.
First down for the Little Giants. Quick screen to the far side. It's completed to Snively across the 40, out to the 45 and almost the 46. Joe, he's now caught a pass in a record-tying 36 consecutive games.
Indeed he has. He came in having started all games in his career, and before we get to that, there is the offensive line, one of the best in the league, led by left tackle Sean Lyons out of Chicago, Illinois. The skill players we have told you about, Eric Snively and Chris Wiesahan, are the wideouts. Chris Ings will be the quarterback, and there you see the rest of the skill players along with tailback David Kogan.
Ings has completed 48% of his passes for 9 touchdowns. He has thrown 9 interceptions. David Kogan just a few yards shy of 1,000 yards rushing. 38 is what he needs. And there's movement on both sides, and let's see, the first flag of the afternoon. Good time to mention our officiating crew. Eric Harmon is the referee today. Lee Aldridge, the umpire. Larry Good is the head linesman. Gordon McCain, the line judge. George Plezak is the back judge. And Richard Mayoris is our field judge this afternoon. Again, you can see the movement up front. A little stunning going on by DePauw, but there was certainly some movement. Hardesty may have been one of those coming toward the line of scrimmage. The 5-yard mark off back to the 41, and for Wabash it is 1st and 15. Sun peeking out, just trying to get out of that overcast. And a little brighter hue to the field right now as Wabash on 1st and 15 from their own 41 following the Chad Bush interception. Quick give up the middle, not much there for Kogan as he tried to crack right down the middle. And coming in, one of those trying to muscle his way in, Ryan Van Meter makes the stop just about the 42-yard line.
We're going to take a look at the DePauw defensive lineup now. The big guy there is Phil Hiscock, the defensive end. He's in there right now, and he's had quite a few sacks this season. The linebacking core is led by Mike Callahan on the outside and Mike Gramhoff, the senior co-captain, in the middle. They'll be making a lot of the stops today.
2nd down and 14 to go for Wabash at their own 42. Chris Ings to throw, has good time, throws one up the middle. It is complete. Wiesahan takes the ball just across midfield down to about the DePauw 46, about 2.5 yards shy of the first down.
And Chris Wiesahan now has joined Eric Snively in setting a Wabash record for consecutive games with a reception. Each man has caught at least one pass in all 36 games of their Wabash career. Wiesahan and Snively respectively, number 2 and number 3 in Wabash history all-time in receptions and yardage.
Gain of 11. Again, it sets up a big 3rd down and 3. Snively comes wide to the near side. Wiesahan wide to the far side. Hogan the deep back and Hardesty offset to the left, and Chris Ings on a big 3rd down try. Sends Hardesty in motion to the near side. Drops straight back to throw. Sets. Hit as he throws, but it's completed to Baker, the tight end of the 40. 35 and out of bounds inside the DePauw 30 at about the 28. Nate Baker with the reception on a short 3rd and 3 was wide open at the 45. Caught the football and rumbled inside the 30 down to about the 28. Another Wabash first down as they try to get on the board first.
Chris Ings doing an outstanding job. He had pressure from the blind side by outside linebacker Mike Callahan. Ings kept his ground, fired it to Baker just as he was level.
19-yard play. We've got 11:07 to play in quarter number 1. There is no score, but Wabash in DePauw territory at the 28. Snively wide to the near side. Hardesty in the slot to the far side. They give us to Kogan up the middle, cuts back at the 25, still driving to the 24-yard line before a host of black shirts get in there to knock him down. Mike Callahan, who leads them in tackles with 55, one of those initially in there just inside the 25. Make it the 24 is where they'll put it down. Pick up on the play of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Chris Ings has been to the sideline. We've got, again, 10:44 to go in a first quarter that is at the moment scoreless. Both Snively and Wiesehan come wide to the near side. Again, Kogan and Hardesty. Split backs behind Ing on 2nd down. He gives it to Kogan up the middle, and Kogan finds they're going pretty tough in there. Jason Farabee trying to lead the way with the block, but not a whole lot of gain there. Just got about a yard. It'll be 3rd down coming up and 3rd and about 4.
3rd down conversions have been very good for the Little Giants this season. They've converted nearly 43% of those opportunities. They're 1 for 1 today on 3rd down conversions.
Ball at the 22-yard line. 3rd down and about 4. Again, Ings with a 2 wideout split, 1 to either side. He brings Hardesty in motion to the near side again. Chris drops to throw. Has all the time, throws over the middle, off of Wiesehan's hands, incomplete. Good coverage in there by Jerry Smart out of Indianapolis from Pike High School with a good hit. And it is now 4th down and 4 at the 22, and we'll see what Greg Carlson would like to do. Joe, would you like to go out on a limb and what the coach might try here? Kick the field goal?
He's already sent Alex Costa out there to kick the field goal. Of course, Costa, the hero of last year's Monon Bell game, booting the game-tying field goal, which bounced through after hitting the right upright. And he will set up here and kick from the hold of Keith Hefner.
And this would be a 39-yard effort. The snap, the ball is down, the kick is up, and it is wide. Well, he said good. It got through. All right. So the first points on the boards by Alec Costa. Look for all the world like it was wide, but it is now from Blackstock Stadium. The score early, Wabash 3, DePauw nothing. We'll be back after this short break. This is the Monon Bell Television Network.
The Wabash offense did exactly what Coach Carlson wanted to see. Ings came out and was effective with the short pass, and that should set up the running game for Kogan. And now back to you, Bob.
All right, the drive covered a total of 57 yards in 8 plays in 2 minutes and 38 seconds, and Alex Costa puts Wabash on the boards with a 39-yard field goal. Again, Bradley Hill goes deep along with Ronnie Herman on the near side, and Jamie Kuna is up short along with Sean Gardner at about the 20. So Costa will put it in play. Wabash up 3-0 with 9:44 to play in the opening quarter.
Ronnie Herman leading the Tigers in kickoff returns, 15 this year for 298 yards, a 19.9 average. He had a long of 39 earlier this year.
And a 14-yard return on the first kickoff. This is a better kick from Costa. Bradley Hill's going to let it bounce in the end zone, out of the end zone, and DePauw will go to play 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line.
At the top of the show, Bob, we mentioned that all the Wabash defense had to do was force turnovers, and we see the effectiveness of that on Wabash's first possession. Chad Bush's 2nd interception of the season sets up a scoring drive, and Wabash gets on the board first. And you see Wabash head coach Greg Carlson, who is the 2nd all-time winningest coach in Wabash history with a record of 67, 32, and 2. He's in his 11th year.
Again, DePauw will go with that double tight end, and they split Brad Hill wide to the left side. Lone running back is Gardner, 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. They give us to Gardner up the middle. He spins and works his way backwards out near the 25. Pickup of, let's call it 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Let's check on the sidelines on the DePauw side with Amanda Lutz.
Bob, I'm here with former DePauw coach, his wife, and athletic director Linda Catula. Mrs. Catula, what's it like being the wife of a coach on a big game day?
Well, I've lived with the Catman now for 32 years, and I've attended 35 of these games. And even though his coaching days are over, he is still wild about this experience. He thinks...
That break in is Ronnie Herman.
It's a great...
Ronnie Herman ran that ball down the sideline on a quick pitch to the near side. We'll get back to the coach's wife in just a second, but a big play that covered 37 yards into Wabash territory, and we'll see where they actually put it down inside the 40-yard line at about the 39, make it the 38-yard line for Ronnie Herman. That's his first carry of the day, and Scotty, he looked like the great back he is on this one.
Ronnie Herman has been the star for the DePauw offense all season long. They like to run this play on the sweep. He just finds some running room, then goes all the way up the sideline. A big gain for Ronnie Herman, the senior out of Carmel.
First and 10 from the 38-yard line. Again, the one-back set. This time, the give is to Gardner. Cuts inside at the 35, 30, runs over people down to the 29-yard line before Greg Benitez, who's been bothered with a hamstring problem in his leg. He makes the tackle at the 30, about a yard shy of the first down. Pickup was 9.
Another problem that Wabash's defense may have in the early going is they've had a week off. They have not had any live tackling or hitting for a couple of weeks, and it's a defense that hasn't tackled well all year long. May be interesting to see how the off week hurt their ability to hit and tackle.
Second down and a long yard from just inside the 30. Wabash leads 3-0. DePauw is driving. Again, Gardner is the lone back. As we'll make it Herman the back, and they slot Gardner to the right side this time. They give us to Herman, cuts up the middle, 25, 20, gets a block to the 15, down to the 13. First down, and certainly within striking distance now, as Chad Bush had to come up to make the tackle.
The Wabash trying to force DePauw into turnovers. They're saying that if Coach Moroza's saying if we can't throw the ball, we're going to run it. Here we see Ronnie Herman, all kinds of room up the middle, getting some good blocking. Greg Amonette, number 52. Then you see Rob Cellini, number 59, coming up. And we're going to take another look at it here. Herman just finding some room right up the middle.
First down and 10 for DePauw at the Wabash 14. They give once again to Herman. This time he is hit behind the line and dropped for a yard or two loss. Snaking in there, one of the people coming across to make the tackle for the Wabash. Brian Vance was one of those also in there on the play and knocked him down at about the 16-yard line, a loss of a couple on the play. Second down and 12.
You see there the Wabash defensive lineman, Brian Vance, finally able to shed a block. The DePauw Tigers, on this drive at least, until that play, had been winning the battle of the trenches.
I formation this time for DePauw. In motion. The quick pitch to Herman, cuts up the middle, stumbles as he crosses the 15, dives forward to perhaps the 13-yard line. That's about it. Sean Gardner trying to throw the block on Ryan Pitcock there, but stumbling across and gaining about 3 to bring up 3rd and 12. Huge play coming up for DePauw here.
Well, Bob, Ronnie Herman coming out of the game now looks to be holding his side a little bit, favoring one shoulder. He hurt that shoulder in the black and gold preseason scrimmage back in August. It's been nagging him all season long. Hopefully for the Tigers, he won't be out for more than 1 or 2 plays because they need him on this drive.
All right, this is a big third down and a little over 8 yards to go from the 13. Pettigrew comes in motion near side. Back to throw as Lansu pumps once. Looks, throws into the end zone. Touchdown, Pettigrew. No, they say no. They say no.
I believe he stepped out of bounds.
They have.
Before he caught it, Bob.
He may have been out of bounds before he cut back in is the call, I believe, because he certainly made what appeared to be an outstanding catch.
Lansu with a nice toss, but I think Pettigrew was just running down the sidelines. We can't see it from this angle, but I believe his
dropped it.
Foot did step out of bounds, and then he did drop it. See, you can see he's out of bounds there, has his hands on it, then drops it.
Again, good coverage by Benitez there, but really Pettigrew just dropped it. Now, we'll see if DePauw can tie it up. Benjamin Fingerhut will try what appears to be about a 30-yard field goal, hoping to tie for DePauw. The kick is on its way. It is good, and we got a 3-3 tie. 6:34 to play, first quarter. It is now from Blackstock Stadium. The score: DePauw 3 and Wabash 3. So right off the bat, a couple of field goals, and both teams have struck to get to the scoreboard early. Both field goals, Benjamin Fingerhut, his 30-yard field goal. Alex Costa earlier in the quarter got a 39-yard field goal. So we've got a game tied at 3.
Well, it's good to see Benjamin Fingerhut get that field goal up and on the board. He's had his troubles kicking this year, just 4 of 8 coming into this game, but he puts up the 30-yarder there, tying up the ball game.
So Wabash will be returning a kickoff for the first time today, and they will send Chris Wiesahan back deep. He's flanked by Eric Snively and by David Kogan. Wiesahan expecting a shorter kick because the kick will be into the wind by Fingerhut, and he comes up to around the 10-yard line, and he's the deep back. This wind has been blowing most of the day directly at the back of Wabash right now. They have the wind advantage here in the first quarter. We've got a 3-3 tie. Again, Scott MacGregor with us from DePauw. The 30-yard field goal is a good one, but considering he kicked it into the wind as he did, that's an excellent kick for Fingerhut.
He's been inconsistent this year in terms of that. He's missed some extra points and some shorter field goals, but he also hit a 39-yarder against Taylor earlier in the season that gave DePauw its second win, and that came on the last second. So Fingerhut's been inconsistent, but he does get the Tigers on the board here in the first quarter.
Ball is already blown off the tee once, and now a second time. He may have to have somebody come over and hold it for him. And we'll see if he decides to do that or whether he's going to try it one more time. 3-3 tie. We've got 6 minutes and 34 seconds left in quarter number one. As we expected, guys, both teams have been able to move the football very well. And then when they get inside the 20-yard line, the defenses have stiffened. Fingerhut will try it. No, the ball blows off the tee one more time. Somebody's going to have to come up and hold it. Yep. And, well, let's see. Somebody is going to have to make up their mind.
Just want to take the opportunity to talk about some of the Monon Bell telecast parties going on across the country. Down in the Atlanta area at Chicago Pizza and Sports Arena, they're watching the game. The DePauw and Wabash alumni getting together, cooperating, and it's good to see that. And hello to those folks down in Atlanta.
Tim Cooper will hold, and Fingerhut's kick this time is a knuckleball. It's short, bouncing around, scooped up, and will be run back by Snively to about the 34-yard line, and that's it. Let's go to the sideline. On the Wabash side, John Bradley.
Thanks, Bob. I'm here with Marty Gregor, class of 1985. Marty, as president of the Indianapolis Alumni Association, you have to be thrilled with last night's centennial celebration.
John, we are. We had over 800 people last evening in Indianapolis to really celebrate what was a dream in February and turned it into reality last night. I'd also like to thank everybody who participated in the jersey campaign. We fielded the Little Giants with brand new uniforms, and a special thanks to Cal Black and his help. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Marty. Back to you, Bob.
All right, we had an offside on the kickoff against the kicking team. DePauw was offside, and I think we're going to kick it all over again. The returner, Eric Borger, instead of Snively, got it back to the 34-yard line, but they are going to try see if they can get a little bit better field position, minus the 5-yard penalty. That touchdown drive for DePauw covered 67 yards, 8 plays. Fingerhut's field goal of 30 yards tied the game up at 3-3.
Bob, you mentioned we might see a short kick from Fingerhut here into the wind. In addition to Wabash having their top return man, Chris Wiesahan, back, they also have some good hands people, Borgert, Hardesty, and Kogan also back there as Snively. So even on a short kick, Wabash is in pretty good shape with offensive skill players dotting the return pattern for the Little Giants.
And right where Borgert is where the field begins to get a little sloppy too. You definitely want somebody who can handle a football in there. I was not real sure that that ball didn't hit somebody from Wabash before Borgert picked it up. So in any event, the penalty would have offset it, but Fingerhut will try this time off the tee by itself. Sends one down the middle. And it is Wiesahan who fields it at about the 23 to the 25, 30 up the middle. He's at the 45 and out to the just shy of the 45-yard line before he is smacked down there. First down, but a nice return, good field position for Wabash. A kick return of 20 yards. 6.5 minutes, just a little under that left to go first quarter. The game is tied at 3, and Wabash takes over at their own 44-yard line. Jason Gustin in on the tackle for DePauw. All right, Snively comes wide to the left. Wiesahan goes wide to the right. Kogan and Hardesty, the back set up behind Chris Ings. First down 10 for Wabash in a 3-3 game first quarter. Ings drops the throw, looks for the quick one over the middle, completed to Snively in DePauw territory, down to the 32-yard line, maybe even the 31 before Jerry Smart comes over from his cornerback spot on the other side to make the tackle. They'll put it down at the 31, a gain of 25.
We'll take a look at the play here. It's just a quick slant from Snively, who is set up, split out wide to the left. He gets one-on-one with Smart and breaks it into DePauw territory for the first down. And one of the key matchups, there you see Snively, senior out of Huntington, Indiana, math major. One of the keys for Wabash, their skill people have 14 years of Monon Bell experience against freshmen and sophomores in the DePauw secondary.
Snively wide to the left again, Wiesahan wide to the right. Quick fake, and then the give up the middle to Hardesty, stumbles across the 30 down to about the 27-yard line. Pickup of about 4 on the play, which would bring up second down and 6. They fake the quick toss to Kogan, give it coming back up the middle to Hardesty, and he gets about 4. Good recovery there by DePauw after the big pass play set up Wabash again in very good field position. Remember, this all started with Wiesahan's kick return that gave him field position at the 44-yard line. Ings again splits his receivers left and right and sets up with the 2 backs on second down and 6. The ball again at the DePauw 26-yard line. Little Giants possession, the game tied at 3. Ings to throw again, look for that quick slant, throws, Snively has it knocked down. Jerry Smart may have just gotten a piece of it. We've also got a flag, and roughing the passer is going to be called against DePauw. Ings is up, but the last guy to get up is Hardesty, and he may be the guy mad he missed the block. But certainly roughing on Chris Ings will give good field position in a first down. Way after he threw the ball, he was bumped, and bumped in there by Chris Rao. All right, let's see what Eric Harmon will talk about here. That was almost a touchdown to Snively, but they get the benefit of the penalty anyway.
And I'm sure Snively very frustrated with himself that he was not able to haul that ball in against Jerry Smart, but nonetheless, DePauw makes a mental mistake, hits Ings well after he let the ball go, and that sets up a first down for Wabash inside the DePauw 15-yard line. And it's imperative for the Little Giants that they score here and take the lead. They certainly would like to have at least a 2-score margin at the end of the first quarter. They start quickly, DePauw does not, and they want to keep that trend here at the start of the Monon Bell Classic.
All right, put the ball down at the 13-yard line. It is 1st and 10. They give us to Kogan off the right side, cuts back left of the 10, got 3. Oh, and people piled up all over the place. Some pretty good hitting going on inside there, and a gain on the play of just about 3 yards. As coming over defensively, Kevin Mendenhall was the man who made the first hit at about the 10-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
There you see David Kogan, 6 feet, 205, a junior out of nearby Zionsville, Indiana. Missed the Rose-Hulman game a couple of weeks ago. This is his first action.
A lot of young folk here, and that's also good to see. Coming out on a Saturday afternoon to have a good time, and thank goodness it's not raining at this point as Hardesty goes in motion to the far side. Quick pitches to Kogan trying to get outside right. Hemmed in, cuts back inside the 10 down to about the 8. That'll set up about a 3rd down and long for Wabash as Kogan tried to cut back and DePauw hemmed him in.
And that cutback is a good sign, Bob. That was one of the fears that Kogan may be a little tentative, planning and cutting back with the injured knee. Obviously, he feels good. He made a strong, confident cutback there to get the ball down inside the 10. So at least right now, it appears that there are no residual effects from Kogan's knee injury.
3rd down and 4. The ball is at the 8-yard line of DePauw. 4 minutes and 10 seconds. The clock is ticking, and again, the big 3rd down play coming up. 1 of 1. Wabash on 3rd down conversions. Ings drops to throw. Looks to the left. Throws left, intended for Snively. Can't get it. Incomplete. Brings up 4th down and 4 from the 8-yard line. Will Alex Costa come on to give them a 6-3 lead or attempt to? That's certainly what it looks that Greg Carlson is doing. Costa has a 39-yarder, and again, he's got the wind at his back, and you want to make sure, as Joe mentioned, you get points. They would like to get 7, but you don't want to come away empty-handed, particularly with DePauw getting the wind in less than 4 minutes.
And Alex Costa coming on again to attempt a field goal. He made his first attempt of the day from 39 yards out. He is 7 of 13 on field goal attempts for the season. His longest effort, 42 yards.
This will be a 26-yarder out of the hold of Keith Hefner. The snap is there. The kick is up. It's good. And with 3 minutes and 54 seconds left in the first quarter, Wabash has regained the lead. It's the Little Giants 6, the DePauw Tigers 3. The drive for for Wabash covered 7 plays, 48 yards, 2 minutes and 41 seconds, and it's 6-3. Wabash leading DePauw with 3:53 left to go in the first quarter. And again, the dark overcast comes back. Just for a moment there, I thought maybe the sun might want to see the game too and might want to peek its head through, but it hasn't at the moment. All right, let's go down to Gregor Mann and check out things along the sideline. Gregor?
Ron Herman injured his hamstring Wednesday at practice, and it seems as though he's injured it again today during the game. He's going to have to sit out. Rex, the trainer, is going to work on him, try to stretch him, get him back in the game, but he's not being able to push off and be aggressive, so he's going to have to sit out for now. So now, back to you, Bob.
Okay, thanks, Gregor. And that means that with him out of the lineup, Jamie Kuna goes in as one of the deep backs along with Hill, as they both set up around the goal line. And keep in mind, Alex Costa again has that wind gusting between 15 and 20 miles at his back. Jamie Kuna and Bradley Hill are the deep backs, and they're both at the goal line. As a matter of fact, Hill a yard deep at the moment, and the last one sailed over his head, so we'll see what Costa does this time. Puts the foot into it. Knuckleballs one down the middle. It bounces around. Gardner scoops it up. Lost it for a moment. Sean picks it up at the 25. Gets out to the 30 and maybe the 31-yard line, which is where DePauw will go to play. 7-yard return on the kickoff. And in on the tackle, Bill Warren. Let's check on the Wabash side and see what's going on with Brian Foley.
Thanks, Bob. Last year's game, intensity was a problem for the Little Giants as they came out in the first quarter. Coach Carlson said the sidelines have got to fire up and help the starters. It seems as though Wabash is on fire right now. And now back to you, Bob.
Okay, Brian, they put the ball at the 30. That's where DePauw will start this offensive possession. And we got a different quarterback. Is it Brian Goodman in the game, or is that still Lansu? Lansu still in the game for DePauw. Score 6-3 Wabash. The I formation. Mark Melchiori, the up back. They'll give it to Gardner. Hops across the line of scrimmage and got 1 yard, and that's it. And we've also got a couple of words between a wide receiver and a defensive back just to make sure that each knows the other one is out there. They put it down at the 31, second down and 9.
Well, with Ronnie Herman out of the game, Sean Gardner's now going to switch out of the fullback position into the tailback. Coach Morales brings in Mark Melchiori, the sophomore out of Naperville, Illinois, puts him at the fullback. But Ronnie Herman being out of the game is going to be a big loss for DePauw.
Jim Fasella, who has had a knee injury and just came back last week against Franklin, is in the game and split wide to the right side. The backs are split. It is second down and a long 9 as Lanso drops to throw. He's had one picked off today. Throws over the middle. Melchiori makes the catch at the 35. Struggles across to the 37. Lost the ball, but DePauw got it back at about the 36-yard line. It appeared Dan Elmore, the setter from Newcastle, was the guy who came up with the loose pigskin at about the 36-yard line. That's where they're going to put it down, and let's take a look at that one as a play that gained 5. Looked like more than that.
Melchiori's going to catch the pass coming across the middle. A nice toss right to Melchiori. He picks it up and then gets hit by a Wabash player, and the ball scoots loose, and then Dan Elmore just kind of flies in out of nowhere and picks it up, and DePauw recovers.
Ryan Pitcock was the guy who knocked the ball loose. It is now third down and 4. The ball in DePauw's possession on their own 36. They trail 6-3. The first quarter has 2:27 left to go as Lansu drops to throw on third down. Throws one over the middle, caught by Pettigrew. Stumbles forward across the 45. Jay's out to the 47. First down for DePauw. Nice catch by Jay Pettigrew out of Northwest High School in Indianapolis. He's 6'4", 206 pounds, and made a nice catch. The play gained 11 yards.
Jay Pettigrew has been a freshman sensation for the Tigers. What a catch in coverage there. Then the extra effort gets him a couple extra yards. But I'll tell you, he has just been a star for the Tigers on offense. He has 34 catches this year, and that leads the ball club.
First and 10 at their own 47. DePauw this time will send Fasella wide to the left side. Pettigrew sets up as a wing to the left and comes in motion to the near side. Out of the eye, they give us to Melchiori. Hit behind the line by Ryan Pitcock and dropped for no gain, perhaps a yard. He struggled forward. Again, coming across, Ryan Pitcock made the first contact, and then Alan Patterson added his bulk to it. And we'll give him on the play a yard, call it second down and a long 9. Minute and 40 left in the quarter. DePauw going into the win. They trail 6-3. They would love to keep possession of the football and start the second quarter in Wabash territory with the wind at their back as Jamie Kuna goes wide to the left side. All running back is Sean Gardner. Double tight end. Fahey on the left side. Pettigrew on the near side. Lansu drops to throw. Has time. Throws down the middle over Jamie Kuna's head. Good coverage over there by Callie Moore. And coming over Chad Bush, who's already got one pick in the day. He was there trying to help out if the help was needed.
Brian Lansu is not happy right now, not happy with the Tigers passing game. Shaking his hand a little bit. I wonder if he got hit. That might be stinging, and that could be a factor on this next play.
All right, they put the ball down this time right at the 47-yard line in DePauw territory. So it is third down and 10, and they'll go with the wideouts. 2 of 3 on third down conversions on the afternoon. Again, the I formation behind Lansu. And Lansu doesn't like what he sees, and he's going to call a timeout. He's got a big third down facing him, 3rd and 10. They don't want to make any mistakes because, again, possession with the wind at your back starting the second quarter is going to be very, very big. Right now, Wabash leading 6-3 with 1 minute and 17 seconds left to go in quarter number 1. Again, we'll take a look at what Lansu saw that he did not like. And people stunning around a little bit. Adam Vella, one of those who may have distracted Brian Lansu. He pointing across the line, and Lansu just didn't like what he saw, and rather than risk a bad play, decided to see what was going on the sideline. Speaking of the sideline, we've got Amanda Lotz down there. She's got some people with her. Amanda?
Bob, I'm here with John Long, 1970 graduate and now general manager of Channel 6 Indianapolis. John, what does televised coverage mean to the Monon game?
Amanda, I think this is a tremendous football game for College 3 or Division 3 college football. I mean, I think we've got about 14,000 people out here. There's another big game going on in the state, as everybody knows, south of here. But I think televising this game, I understand Don Popovic did a great job of clearing pretty much the entire state of Indiana. We're going to televise the game. Those who are watching this in Indianapolis right now are seeing it at 12:30 at night on a delayed basis. I just think it's terrific for small college football. I mean, the intensities here is terrific.
Thanks a lot. Back to you, Bob.
3rd down and 10. Thank you, Amanda. Ryan Lance, who's been to the sideline, the same formation. The eye with Pettigrew set up as a wing to the right side. He goes in motion to the far side. 3rd and 10. Lance, who rolls left side, being pressured. Pump fake, looks, just before he's hit, throws one down the middle. It is picked off, dropped. Just about incomplete, or just about picked off and ruled incomplete. Jamie Kuna came back, and as a good wide receiver will do, turned his attention to defense and made sure the ball was not picked off. Greg Benitez had a chance, but didn't quite get it. Just as the ball was thrown, Lansou was hit, and that brought the ball up just a little bit short and brings DePauw to a 4th down.
A lot of the Tigers' interceptions this year have come on plays like this where Lansou has not had time. We're going to see him put it up. It's just in front of Kuna. He can't get to it. And fortunately for the Tigers, it's not intercepted.
Roussel gets away the punt. Weezahan has it at about his own 10, cuts the far side. Not much blocking, and his knee goes down. Then he's hit again to make sure. And a flag goes in. That's going to cost DePauw because now another flag goes down. Weezahan did the right thing there. He knew his knee hit the ground. He stopped, but folks coming across didn't know that, and all of a sudden, we had some extracurricular activity. Scott Farnham was the first guy in there to make some contact, and instead of pinning him very, very deep, a 40-yard punt. That was a pretty good punt considering it is into the wind. We got a personal foul call against DePauw. The crowd doesn't like it, but Weezahan actually put the knee down. He realized that he was so mad at himself, he slammed the ball, but then he got hit. And then the problem started.
Well, and you can see how bad the field conditions are. He looked like he was ice skating out there. He planted to make a little cut back and turn upfield, lost his footing and went down. The DePauw fans not happy with a late flag, but Weezahan was clearly down before he was plowed under. And I also think, Bob, that in a game of this intensity, Eric Harmon and his crew are going to keep a tight rein on it, keep things from getting out of hand.
Ball comes to the 26-yard line. Nick Morosis has got his team huddled around him. Wabash with the football, though. DePauw trailing 6-3, but both teams have moved the football well. Less than a minute to go in quarter number 1, 59.2 seconds. And Wabash with the win. You might think Ings may try to air it out here to try to take advantage of the waning seconds in this win.
And that was a big stop for the Wabash defense because they get the ball back to the offense without giving up the lead.
Give us to Kogan up the middle and nothing there. The ball popped loose. Ings goes in to grab it, but the whistle had already blown. Now, I'm a little bit surprised they didn't try to air it out simply with the breeze at their back, but they wanted to try to go with Kogan up the middle and not much there.
You just saw Wabash head football coach Greg Carlson, concern on his face. I'm sure a little disappointed with the way the rushing attack has developed here in the first quarter for his team. But the Little Giants do maintain a 6-3 lead with about a half minute to play here in quarter number 1.
2nd down and 11. Hardesty and Kogan as the split backs behind Ings. 2 wides to the right, 1 to the left. You would think it's a passing situation. Ings on the option, rolls right, keeps it, and is hit and dropped at about the 29-yard line. And a very good hit across the way by Scott Wintermute, the corner who came up to make the hit at about the 29-yard line. A gain on the play of about 3, which would set up 3rd and 8. And we're down to the last second of quarter 1. We're going to change ends of the field. And at the end of quarter number 1, it is Wabash 6 and DePauw 3. And we'll be back after this short break. This is the Monon Bell Television Network.
I'm here with Robert Allen, class of 1957. He's chairman and CEO of AT&T, and he also played football here at Wabash. Mr. Allen, you're one of the busiest men in the world. How is it that you have time for your alma mater like you do?
Well, this place had such a positive effect on my life, including the athletics and football that I played at Wabash. I mean, what else could I do? After my family and my job, this is probably my 3rd love.
Yep.
But I tell you, the football here is just about the same as it was 38 years ago, which was the last time I was on this field.
That's great. Thanks. Back to you, Bob.
3rd down and 9 for Wabash at their own 28-yard line. Ings operates out of the shotgun this time. Silent count, takes the snap, drops to throw, pressure coming right up the middle. He is hit, dropped for a loss. Back around the 19-yard line as Wabash saw DePauw send everybody up the middle. There were just too many people to block, and Ings is knocked down at either the 19 or the 20-yard line. Several people had a hand on that one as the rush came right up the middle, loss of 9.
This is very unusual for Wabash. Ings is rarely sacked, one, because he has one of the best offensive lines. There was a face mask that was not called. You saw that, clearly a face mask, but no flag. But unusual that the Wabash offensive line.
A bad snap from center goes over Frazier's head out of the end zone, and we've got a safety. And DePauw is back in the game at 6-5. In the warm-ups, we saw that happen with a bad snap going over the head of kicker Sean Frazier. This one hopped just inside the end line and immediately out. And the 2 points brings DePauw back to within 1. It's 6-5. So the bad snap sets this one up. Frazier had no chance. He went up as high as he could, but there was no way without a stepladder he was going to get that one. And it's 6-5, and it also means that Frazier now gets to punt. Entirely different circumstances from his 20. It's a free kick. But DePauw should get good field position, and they're down by only 1.
And this is very unusual that the Wabash offense would put the team in such a poor position. Usually it's been the defense, and the offense has to make up for it. Now pressure squarely on Pete Germano's defense. They absolutely have to keep DePauw off the scoreboard on this drive and get the ball back into Chris Ings' hands. And as I was saying before, the bad snap on the punt, that sack against Ings is rare. One, because the offensive line for the Little Giants is one of the best in the ICAC. And also, Bob, Ings is so athletic, 90% of the time he dodges the initial contact and at least gets back to the line of scrimmage.
And that may have been what caused the face mask that wasn't called. When you duck, that's what happens. Somebody grabs a hold of whatever they can. In this case, it was Matt McClure coming through who spun him around for the first time and set up the sack. Scott?
Well, we mentioned earlier that DePauw and Wabash alumni all over the country getting together to watch this Monon Bell telecast. There's one going on in the Chicago area, downtown at High Tops Cafe on Sheffield Addison near Wrigley Field. In the western suburbs, they're at Halftime Sports Bar and Grill. So hi to all those folks up in the Chicago area.
Again, Scott MacGregor representing DePauw and Joe Emmick representing Wabash doing the color today. My name is Bob Lamey. It is 6-5 in favor of Wabash with 14:20 to go in quarter number 2. DePauw is going to get the football back one more time. And let me see who's back with Hill. Check on who that is in just a moment. For the DePauw Tigers, Mike Burke is back there as a twin safety, and this time they're going to let Costa kick, and instead of punting it, Costa's going to kick it away off the tee, hoping to get a longer drive as Frazier's had some problems. Has punted for an average of just over 30 yards. Costa with 2 long field goals, booms this one down the middle. It's going to bounce at about the 30. Burke one-hands it, or is that Burke? It's across the way. We'll see in a moment as he comes up the 30 and bumped out of bounds across the way, just in front of the Wabash bench at about the 33-yard line. And take a look quickly at first quarter statistics. The returner was Joel Froelich, and the return good for 13 yards. 4 first downs for the Tigers and 3 for the Little Giants. The net yards 94 for DePauw and 87 for Wabash. The one turnover, Chad Bushnell's interception, led to the first field goal of the game, and it's 6-5 in favor of Wabash.
A big key, you look at the rushing yardage. DePauw 78 to Wabash's 17. That is the complete opposite, Scott, of what we expected coming in.
That's right, and it's not surprising that the stats are very similar considering the score right now.
Ball is at the 35 is where they say Froelich was bumped out of bounds. 1st and 10, Lansu gives the ball up the middle to Gardner. A little couple of tough yards in there, about to the 32, perhaps the 33 when they unpile. Front line led by center Dan Elmore trying to drive a wedge in the defense, and we'll see where they put that football down. I call it the 33, gain of 3 on the play, as Tracy Smith was the man getting up off the bottom of the stack. 2nd down and 7 for DePauw. We're in the first couple of minutes of quarter number 2. The safety a moment ago has put DePauw within 1. Wabash 6, DePauw 5. That's as good as a turnover, so you might as well say the turnovers are even. Give to the near side. A flag is on the play as Gardner is spun around, dropped, fumbled the football, and recovered by Wabash, but they say it is Wabash football. They're going to give it to the Little Giants as Michael Witzel comes over to make the stop. The ball popped loose. He recovered at the 41. Now let's see what the flag is. Holding against Wabash. So rub out the fumble recovery. Or the official may have pointed the wrong way. It's holding against DePauw, which is the call. It is declined. Wabash has the ball at the 40-yard line. Kyle Kuba also in on the play to knock it free. The ball is at the 40-yard line, and that gives Wabash the football. It is 6-3 in favor of the Little Giants. They break the huddle. Both wideouts go to the left side. Chris Ings has a chance with great field position to get his team more than a 1-point lead. Drops straight back to throw. Pressure again, pressure. Flips it to the right side, and both Wabash players collide and go down. Baker, one of those coming across, who ran into his teammate Craig Hardesty. They both fell down, and the ball fell harmlessly to the turf. It is 2nd down and 10 from the 40-yard line.
We're going to take a look at the DePauw fumble recovered by Kyle Kuba, a freshman out of Westfield High School in Westfield, Indiana. Right there is the hit. The ball pops free, and right there is Kuba to jump on it and recover it. We mentioned the Wabash defense needed to force turnovers. That's the 2nd turnover of the day. The first one led to an Alex Costa field goal.
Ings, by the way, is 2 of 7 for 70 yards. The give is to Kogan up the middle, crosses the 40, dives forward to about the 36-yard line before he's finally knocked down.
Craig Hardesty, the H-back, with a good block there on the right side as Kogan turned it off tackle. Hardesty, one of the toughest and most determined players on this Wabash offense. He doesn't get a lot of notoriety because of his numbers, but he is an outstanding blocker for David Kogan.
3rd down and 7. The ball is at the 37-yard line. Wide to the left side goes Snively. Wide to the near side, Weezahan. Hardesty in the slot, and Ings will go out of the shotgun. Big 3rd down coming up for Wabash. Back to throw is Ings. Throws quickly to the sideline. Weezahan's got it inside the 30, spun down at around the 29, maybe the 28. And that should give them the 1st down. Let's go down to the sideline, and Brian Foley on the sideline. Brian?
Thanks, Bob. Just before that last defensive series, the defensive coach, Coach Germano, had the defense change their formation at the line to accommodate the unbalanced line of the DePauw Tigers. It seemed to work there, as that was exactly what they were trying to prevent in the sweep. Now back to you, Bob.
1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. 12:24 remaining 2nd quarter. Wabash leading 6-5, and Wabash with the ball at the 29-yard line. It is 1st and 10. Hardesty in motion near side. They give us to Kogan up the middle. Kogan got a couple of very tough yards in the middle of the DePauw line. Stands him up there.
Well, he mentioned the unbalanced line. The Tigers started off bringing in Andy Mast, a sophomore out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, went to Bishop Luers High School. They brought him in and ran the jumbo line, and it didn't work, and so the Wabash defense adjusted to it.
There you see Chris Ings, 5 of 8 for 77 yards, no interceptions, but he has not put a ball in the end zone yet. And he has a big 2nd down play here.
2nd down and 8. The ball is at the DePauw 27-yard line. Wabash with a 6-5 lead, trying to build on that. Ings rolls to the far side, sets up, has time, looks, throws quickly, caught. Nice catch down around the 22-yard line. And a gain of just a couple. Hardesty is the man who caught the ball coming across and made the catch and managed to gain another yard before he fell down, gain of 4.
We mentioned Hardesty earlier being one of the tougher-minded players on this offense. This is what he does best. Picks up the 5 to 7 yard gains. Ings stays right with him. Hardesty had to climb the ladder just a bit to haul it in. Even though he doesn't catch a lot of balls, he is indeed a sure-handed receiver, senior out of Lincolnshire, Illinois.
3rd down and 4 for the Little Giants. The ball is at the 22 of DePauw. Hardesty in motion to the far side. Ings drops straight back this time, has time, sets, looks, throws it deep down the sideline, caught, and knocked out of bounds. The ball is loose. Now they say incomplete. Incomplete. He did not control the football on the far side, and incomplete is the ruling. As Hardesty again tried to make the catch inside the 5-yard line. This brings up 4th down, and now we'll see what Coach Carlson wants to do. Again, this ball was a catchable ball at about the 3-yard line. Hardesty tried to control it, and the ball just slipped through his fingertips. Timeout called by Wabash with 10:51 to go and facing a 4th down. The score from Blackstock Stadium is Wabash 6, DePauw 5. We'll be back after this short break. This is the Monon Bell Television Network. Wabash football at the DePauw 22-yard line. It is 4th down and 4, and it certainly appears that Wabash is going to be going for the 4th down. It'll be the first 4th down attempt. Quickly, Gregor Mann on the sideline with an update. Gregor? Well, maybe it was too quick.
DePauw's game plan today on defense was simple. Be aggressive, keep a balanced line to stop the powerful Wabash running attack. They've been able to do that thus far, and now the coaches want to concentrate on stopping the passing. To do this, they're going to blitz and do other things to put pressure on the quarterback. Now back to you, Bob.
Flag on the play, and the pass is caught Very, very close to a first down by Hardesty, but I think DePauw was offside. If there was no movement in the offensive line of Wabash, I think that a penalty will give Wabash the first down, and the penalty appears to be against the Tigers.
Wabash overloaded trip receivers out wide to the right. Ings went to that side and hit one of the slot men, Hardesty, who stretches out and makes a diving grab. So Hardesty on this drive has made 3 big plays, 2 catches, and a block to spring Cogan for a few yards. So Greg Carlson moving away from Snively, Weezahan, and Cogan, opening up some other options here with H-back Craig Hardesty.
Big question now, Joe, is did he get the first down? And I would think you take the penalty anyway because it's 5 yards and takes you to the 17. The catch is only to the 18. And in either case, it's going to be a first down, I would think. Let's see. First down, they put it at the 18-yard line. They let they decline the penalty, take the catch. So the ball is at the 18-yard line. It is good enough for a first down. And let's see what happens. Chris Ings has been to the sideline to get the call. 6-5 Wabash, 10:43 to play. Clock is moving. We're in the second quarter, and the Little Giants driving again at the 18-yard line of DePauw. Split backs, Cogan and Hardesty. As Ings bows under, fake, rolls, cuts back up the middle, runs into traffic, and down he goes. Nothing there as the DePauw defense stiffens and makes the big play inside.
That looked like a busted play. We'll take a look at the replay. Ings was play faking to Cogan, turned around and had nowhere to go. And as you see, he was looking for a blocker to his left to cut it back inside the tackle. Nobody was there. And he slides in and is hit by 4 or 5 black jerseys.
Pat Roberts, 66, was the guy who led the charge. And it is second down and 10, the ball at the 18. And again, Snively goes wide to the left. Weezahan wide right. Hardesty is the slot right, and out of the shotgun on 2nd and 10. Chris Ings keeps Dave Cogan back with him. Snap to Ings, looks to the right, now, looks again. He's going to throw to the sideline. Cogan's got it at the 20. Cogan to the 15. He's to the 10, inside to the 5, still diving down to the 1. Before he's finally knocked down at the 1-yard line. Nice run by Cogan after the catch. He sidestepped with a great move, 1 tackler, then ran over a couple and got to the 1, a gain of 17. It is first and goal to go for the Little Giants at the 1-yard line.
Let's take a look at the replay on that. Ings with all day to throw behind that fantastic offensive line. He just has all day to look left and right. Finally steps up, fires it, he's hit, and it's complete to David Cogan. Makes a nice little slide step, as Bob mentioned, to get to the outside. Chris Ings, only a sophomore, plays like a senior. His pocket poise is outstanding. And there you see Ings doing a little cheerleading because he was able to complete that screen pass in the flat to set up 1st and goal.
And Ings dives over the top, touchdown Wabash. Chris Ings diving into the end zone for his 7th rushing touchdown of the year, and it increases the margin now. It is Wabash 12, DePauw 5 with the extra point attempt still to come.
For Chris Ings, his 7th rushing touchdown, and on any down and short, Ings is usually the option, either going right behind his center, Brad Hoover, or right over the top as he did there, and he certainly presents Wabash with several other offensive options besides his passing. There you see Ings, the sophomore out of Ben Davis in Indianapolis, Indiana, led Dick Dullahan's team to 2 5A state football titles. He was 27-1 as a starting high school quarterback.
Keith Hefner will hold. Costa will try to add the point. The kick is on its way, and it is perfect. So with 9:14 to play in the second quarter, it is now Wabash 13, DePauw 5. Nice drive, as Joe mentioned. Craig Hardesty very much involved in what turned out to be a 10-play, 60-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 14 seconds. And again, another big play with Cogan on the receiving end that took it 17 yards to the 1. But Hardesty, with 3 catches that accounted for at least 2 first downs, set things up. Ings on that straight dive over the middle. Nobody really had a shot at it. Again, Chris Ings, with the 7th time he has found the end zone on his own volition, this time diving in to make it 13-5. Let's go to the DePauw sideline. Amanda Lotz. Amanda?
Bob, I'm here with Rob Bush, graduate of 1991 and captain of the team that won all 4 Monon bells. Rob, what's the Monon game mean to you?
Well, a coach once told me that big time is where you are. At this day, at this time, there's no other game that can equal the intensity that's being played on this field right now. For these guys and these fans, this game's as big as the Florida State game, as big as the Notre Dame game. For the half hour before the game, the seniors stand up and tell their stories, and to see 100 guys crying and storm the field holding hands crying is an emotional high that you can never experience again.
Thanks a lot, Rob. Back to you.
Joel Froelich goes deep along with Bradley Hill. They're standing at about the 5-yard line. Again, Costa has a pretty good leg, but he's kicking into a strong wind. But it's 13-5 in favor of Wabash, 9:14 to play in quarter 2.
And Bob, finally Greg Carlson gets what he wants from his senior-dominated offense. A couple of mistakes, the high snap on the punt to give DePauw a safety to pull them within 1, and Ings and the seniors around him go right back and get the lead extended to 13-5, and that is exactly what the Wabash offense has been doing all season long.
Alex Costa again will kick it off. Froelich, who returned the last one a few yards, about 14, and Bradley Hill, who's got the speed. See what Costa decides to do with it. End-over-end kick heading again toward Froelich. He lets it bounce, fields it at about the 14. On the reverse, gives it to Kuna. Kuna runs into a lot of white shirts, tries to come back the other way, and nothing doing. He is wrapped up just across the 15 at about the 16-yard line. The return good for 3 yards. And so DePauw will start in tough field position. They'll put it down at the 18. But again, very tough field position for DePauw. Scott, they tried the reverse on this particular play, but with a slippery field, it didn't get the jump they thought it would.
No, it just doesn't work. Wabash collapses in on Kuna. He can't find any room. Tries to cut back, but gets tackled.
Again, a big play, cuts it at the 16-yard line. Pettigrew comes in motion. They give us to Gardner, bounces outside at the 20. He's at the 25, 30, 35, and down there. Nice run by Sean Gardner. Let's go to the Wabash side. John Bradley is over there. John?
Thank you, Bob. I'm here with record field goal kicker Joe Bevelheimer, class of 1986. Joe kicked 5 field goals in the 1985 Monon Bell game. Joe, it had to be a huge thrill to beat DePauw as a senior. Can you tell me how that felt?
It really was a big thrill. To go out in your final game and to have your best game that way, it was really good. You know, they were a team that was going to the playoffs that year. If they beat us and we came down here and beat them on their home field, it was a great way to go out.
That's great, Joe. Now back to you in the booth, Bob.
Gardner comes in motion near side as Brian Lansu drops to throw. Has time, throws one down the middle. It is tipped up in the air and intercepted by Adam Vela. Vela at the midfield stripe, tiptoes to the DePauw 45. Still on his feet, knocked down from behind at about the 43. The second pick of the day for Wabash. Adam Vela coming across, makes a big play, and Brian Lansu just a bit upset because Pettigrew was wide open. Scott?
Well, Bob, this is the problem the Tigers have had all season long. Brian Lansu's interceptions this season have come as a result of 2 things. 1, bad reads on the defense, and 2, just underthrowing his receivers. That's what we see here. Pettigrew going deep across the middle. The ball gets tipped. It appeared to be a little bit underthrown, and Vela comes up with the interception for the Little Giants.
I'll tell you what, let's give credit where that's a heck of a play by Adam Vela. The tip going up as the ball's going over his head, and then to maintain his balance, to catch the ball and return it to the 43. That's just a great athletic play there.
His second interception of the season as well.
Back to throw is Ings. Throws to the sideline. It's complete. Knocked down Wizahan inside the 40 down to about the 38-yard line and out of bounds there.
We talked about turnovers, Bob. This is the 3rd turnover Wabash has forced. They've already scored 10 points off those DePauw turnovers. And Scott, we talked about this too. DePauw coming in minus 22 in turnovers. And when you turn it over like that, it is tough to win.
You can't expect to win, and that's why the Tigers came into this game 2-7. And that's something that Coach Morozes worked on all week in practice. He's tried to work on it all season, but for some reason, the mistakes just keep happening.
Well, again, that was a tip. That was just a play of an inch. Vela makes a great one, or Pettigrew has a long gainer down the middle. Gain of 5 for Wabash, 2nd down and 5. Snively in motion to the far side. Ings pitches on the late pitch, is picked up on the bounce by Hardesty. He runs into a lot of black shirts and goes down around the 41-yard line. A loss on the play of about 3. Good play, good defense by DePauw as Ings read the play right, but the pitch might have slipped a bit out of his hands, but Hardesty had to field it on a bounce. He was lucky the ball wasn't fumbled, did a good job picking it up, and the loss was just for a couple. Ings, by the way, 5 of 5, last 5 passes for 30 yards. Nick Morozes, who has won over 80 games here at DePauw, his team trailing at the moment 13-5, but what a job he has done, as well as Greg Carlson on the far side. The ball is at the 40, it's 3rd and 6 for Wabash. They are 2 of 5 on 3rd down conversions today. They bring Hardesty in motion to the near side as Ings drops to throw again. Flag on the play. Ings with all time to throw over the middle, complete to Nate Baker, the tight end, inside the 30, down around the 28. Now we check out the flags and see what happens. It's, I think, against DePauw, but let's make sure that that is what the officials saw as well. Nope, it's against Wabash. It's illegal procedure. It's going to cost him 5, and it's also going to cost him a 1st down. They'll put the ball back at the 45-yard line.
Earlier, Bob, we saw Ings run the option play. Wabash does not normally use the option in their offense, but for today's game, they have installed an audible package. Ings has 4 or 5 options. He'll go to the line, read the defense, and on a one-word cue to the rest of the offense will make the call at the line of scrimmage. Any option play you see today from Wabash is a call at the line by Ings on the audible.
Penalties today, there haven't been a whole lot of them. 2 against Wabash for 10, 3 against DePauw for 34. One of those was the personal foul. So Ings now with a 3rd down and 11. The ball is at the DePauw 45. Back to throw is Chris Ings. Again, good protection. Throws, it is complete out there. Snively is going to be knocked down short of the 1st down at about the 35-yard line. Gained about 10 on the play. Well, it's going to be very close. We'll have to see where they put that football down, but it does appear to be about a yard or so shy at the 35-yard line, and now we'll see whether they're going to go for it. A pickup on the play of 10. 6 minutes and 53 seconds, the time remaining. It is 13-5 in favor of Wabash, and it appears that Sean Frazier will get another attempt to punt the football. The last time, he doesn't even want to think about it. The ball snapped over his head out of the end zone for a safety. Matt Pfeiffer is the long snapper, and usually a very good one. This time the snap is a little high, but not that high, and he gets the kick away. Punt's going to hit it about the 10. Rolls inside the 10, heads to the sideline. Wabash downs it at about the 8-yard line. DePauw will start again in bad field position, Scotty. 6:25 left, it's 13-5, but the field position has not been good. 27-yard punt, but the positioning was great.
That's right, and the Tigers pinned back in their own territory now. I expect to see them go to Sean Gardner again. We saw in the first play of that last drive, Gardner out of the tailback position with Ronnie Herman out of the game, running the same play that Herman got a big gain out of in the first quarter. I expect to see the Tigers run that on this series once again.
Again, Sean Gardner is the lone running back. Jamie Kuna goes wide to the right side. Bradley Hill wide to the left. 1st and 10 from their own 8-yard line, and they bring the tight end in motion to give us to Gardner. This time he bounces to the outside but doesn't get nearly the yardage. Cross the 10, perhaps to the 11, which would be a pickup of 3. But we'll see where they put the football down. Just about the 11-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Middle linebacker Bill Warren came up and made that stop, and I mentioned briefly at the top of the show that Warren would have to have a good day for Wabash to be successful defensively. In this 4-3 base defense, the middle linebacker has a great deal of pressure on him. Warren came in with 36 tackles on the season. He's a freshman out of nearby Linden, Indiana, just a few miles outside of Crawfordsville.
DePauw has rushed for nearly 100 yards, 99 to be exact at this point. Rolling right, Lansu in the end zone, looks, he's going to throw back left, the screen to Gardner, he's on one knee at the 10, he's out to the 15, they're going to call him dead at the 10-yard line. He was on a knee when he caught the football. And the gain will be negligible. It's either going to be back at the line of scrimmage or a loss of half a yard. We'll bring up 3rd down and 7.
Again, Lansu is going to get some pressure up the middle, and that's going to force him to turn to the other side and look for Gardner, and it's just underthrown. Gardner's knee hits and can't come up with a...
Brian Vance was right on top of him, made him throw very quickly. Lansu's 3 of 8 for only 15 yards, and he's been picked off twice. So it's a big 3rd down and 7. The ball is just outside of the DePauw 10. They're 2 of 5 on 3rd down conversions. Lansu swings it in the flat. It's caught out there. Melchiori turns the corner at the 10-15, struggles out to close to the 1st down. He might have it at about the 18-yard line with 2nd effort. Mark Melchiori. Melchiori was 5'9", 190 out of Naperville, Illinois, a sophomore with his 12th catch of the year, and let's see whether he has picked up the 1st down or not. They may have to bring the chains out on this one. 5 minutes, 11 seconds to go in the 2nd quarter. Wabash leading DePauw 13-5.
Even with Ronnie Herman out of the ball game, the Tigers able to use Mark Melchiori in the fullback position, as we said, switching Sean Gardner into the tailback, and really has worked out fairly well for them as they are close to 100 yards rushing.
1st down is the call. A good 2nd effort by Mark Melchiori. Picks up the 1st down at the 18-yard line, and Brian Lansu has been to the sideline, hustles back along with tight end David Fahey. And Melchiori started to the sideline. Now he continues limping just a little bit as he heads to the DePauw sideline. 1st and 10 for the Tigers. They trail 13-5. 5:11 to go in the 2nd quarter. Bradley Hill wide to the near side. Jamie Kuna goes wide to the far side. Sean Gardner, the lone running back, and Pettigrew is the tight end. Set up as an H-back and comes in motion near side. They give us to Gardner up the middle. Bounces to the right side. Fights his way out to the 20, maybe the 21-yard line, which would be a pickup of 3. Now they're going to call it. Let's see where they actually put the ball down at the 21. It would be 2nd down and 7, a gain of 3. So again, DePauw trying to move out of the shadow of their own goalpost. They trail 13-5. There's still plenty of time left in the second quarter, over 4.5 minutes, but they've got to move the football. Lansu, split backs behind him. Drops straight back to throw. Sets, throws over the middle underneath. Gardner's got it, gets away from one tackle at the 25. Stiff arm to the 30, 34-yard line before he's run out of bounds. They might say the 33 is where he stepped on the sideline, but it is still enough for another DePauw first down. Offensive line, Rob Cellini, number 59, limping just a little bit as he comes back to the huddle. Number 11 on the sideline, the other senior backup quarterback, Brian Goodman. He has started a few games this year, and Scotty, both these guys have had their moments during the year.
That's right. They've both played very well at times, and at other times haven't. Lansu getting the start today, and we expect to see him throughout most of the game.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 32-yard line, is where they'll actually say he stepped out of bounds. They give us to Gardner, comes to the near side, and Adam Vella won't let him go much further. Greg Benitez was right there, too. It was a nice little sandwich, and the sandwich netted DePauw nothing. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Good play by Vella, who's had 1 interception today as well, and also Greg Benitez, whose name we've called a number of times this afternoon. Benitez had a near interception earlier in the day. Chad Bush had the other pick. The bad snap that resulted in the safety for DePauw, the real costly mistake for Wabash today. 2nd down and 10. Wabash leading 13-5, 3:42 left. Rushing, DePauw's rush for 102, Wabash only 13. As Joe said, what a turnabout that is from what we expected. Screen to the near side over the head of Mark Melchiori. And again, some big-time pressure from Vance again, or was this Tracy Smith, 93?
It was Tracy Smith on the pressure, and the defense that Pete Germano likes to run is the 4-3 stunt defense, where the tackles will loop to the outside while the ends will cut back to the inside. And every time they've run the stunt on a pass play, they have been in Lansu's face. Right there you see Smith on the pressure, forcing the incomplete pass on the attempted screen.
2 out of 5 on 3rd down conversions for DePauw, and 2 of 6 for Wabash today. It is 3rd down and 10. The ball is at the DePauw 32. Lansu needs a big play. He drops to throw, has protection, throws one down the middle, caught by Bradley Hill. An excellent catch, great coverage by Moore, but Bradley Hill with a catch at about the 48, 49-yard line. 1st down, DePauw.
Bradley Hill, only 5'6", a senior. He came up, had a big Monon Bell game last year, came in, has had a great season for the Tigers. He reaches up, grabs that in coverage, comes down with a big reception. We're going to look at the replay. Lansu with plenty of time, then gets some pressure up the middle, gets the ball off, and Bradley Hill just jumping up, uses all 5'6" of his frame, and gets the big reception for the DePauw Tigers.
16-yard gain makes it a 1st down for DePauw at their own 49. They give us to Gardner off the right side across midfield, still fighting to the 45 of Wabash before he is finally knocked down there. And again off the bottom of the stack, number 44, Adam Vella. Vella with another huge play there, and he's just been everywhere. 6-yard pickup, 2nd down and 4.
There you see Wabash quarterback Chris Ings waiting impatiently on the sideline, hoping to get another shot at the end zone before the first half comes to a close.
2:41 left to go to halftime. 2nd down and 4 for DePauw. They have it at the Wabash 45. The Little Giants lead the game 13-5. Dan Elmore leads the offensive line out. Lansu bows under. This time he's got the I formation. He'll split wide to the near side. 2nd down and 4. The quick pitch coming near side. The reverse, they give it to Hill, and he's got blocking in front of him at the 45. Bounces to the outside, and the next tackle makes it a 1-yard gain down to about the 43-yard line. Is coming across. Mike Mannion is the guy who made the stop just inside the 45. The corner really made a good play.
He did.
The Tigers scored on this play last week against Franklin. Hill went 51 yards. This time he doesn't get much as the blocking kind of collapses. We're going to see Brian Lansu try to throw a block, but he can't get it, and he'll stop for about a 1-yard gain.
Joe, if Mannion doesn't make that play, it is a big play because he bounces out for another 10 or 15 yards. Excellent play by Mike Mannion.
It was. Mike Mannion, a native of Crawfordsville. DePauw showed that exact reverse a week ago against Franklin. Wabash was ready for it.
Lansu this time on a keeper tries to go to the right side to follow some blocking. He's shy of the 1st down. It appears about a yard, which would set the ball up at about the Wabash 42-yard line. 4th and 1. And now we'll see what Nick Morosis wants to do with 1 minute and 27 seconds remaining, as Sean Gardner has carried the ball 13 times for 54 yards in the game. And we've got a timeout Now, DePauw wants a timeout to check things over and see what Nick Morosis wants to do. It'll be 4th down and about a yard, maybe not that much.
We've seen DePauw's defense hold Wabash twice inside the red zone, the 20-yard line toward the goal line. Here, Wabash's defense has come up with the big plays, and again, turnovers the story right now. That's the difference in the game and on the scoreboard with Wabash holding a 13-5 lead. Going back quickly to that reverse that Mannion snuffed out, that's an iffy play when you have your quarterback as your lead blocker to spring it. Lansu made a great effort, but Mannion with a full head of steam just plowed right through him to knock down the ball carrier.
Sometimes when you've got two good quarterbacks, you don't necessarily put one at risk, but you say, wait a minute, he's got to do some blocking because I've got a second guy. Brian Goodman is there who can, in fact, make the play. Wabash has returned to the field. It is 4th down and less than a yard to go. DePauw football at the Wabash 41.5-yard line. The Tigers are going for it. Bradley Hill comes wide to the near side, double tight end. Pettigrew on the near side and Fahey on the far. The lone running back is Gardner. You would think Gardner's going to get it, or is Lansu going to try to quarterback sneak it? Let's see what Nick Morosis says. They give it to Gardner up the middle. He's got the first down. The forward progress got him to the 40-yard line. Ryan Pitcock tried to come in from the side and make the stop, but Gardner had too much momentum and carried the ball right up the middle to the 40-yard line. He gained about a yard and a half, but he only needed a yard, so it is a first down for DePauw.
Again,
18.
Again, Gardner showing his versatility, can run out of the fullback, as we saw on that play, comes up with a big gain up the middle, and we've seen also on this drive and earlier in the game, Gardner running on the sweep, and he's gotten some big yardage there.
First down. Jamie Kuna was late getting to the field. I'm not sure he really knows what the play is, but they give it to Gardner trying to bounce to the outside. He gets to the 40, 35, down the sideline, down close to the 30-yard line. He's shy of the first down. He'll be knocked out of bounds at about the 31-yard line. Pickup of about 9 for Gardner as he gets to the outside. 2nd down and 1. Less than a minute to go in the first half. 57.6 seconds to go. Wabash still with 2 timeouts left. DePauw has 1. The ball is at the 31-yard line. 2nd down and 1. Jamie Kuna comes to the near side with Gardner. Melchiori is the lone running back, and Bradley Hill wide to the right. Brian Lansu drops straight back, looks to the sideline, swings at the flat. Melchiori's got it. He's at the 30. Cut to the outside. Nice stop at about the 26-yard line. And coming over Moore again from the cornerback spot, knocks him down, and DePauw is, I believe, going to use a time. No, the clock stops for the first down. He got the first down to the 26-yard line. That stops the clock.
Going to take a look at this play. Melchiori catching it out in the flat and the screen pass from Brian Lansu. And then it looks for some room upfield, but the Wabash defense coming up to make a big tackle as Melchiori would have had a big gain.
Moore coming up from that corner spot as we've got less than 35 seconds left in the first half. Lansu drops to throw, gets some pressure, throws it up the middle, caught by Pettigrew at the 21. Down he goes right there, Ryan Pitcock right with him. We've got a timeout being signaled by DePauw, 24.8 seconds to go in the first half. Wabash leads 13-5, and they'll put the ball down at the 22-yard line. They are that far away, and remember now, Wabash has 2 timeouts left, but DePauw is out of timeouts. So a play, a pass up the middle, a run really doesn't do the Tigers much good at this moment unless they score, because they don't have any way to stop the clock with a timeout. They can do some other things, but at the moment, 24.8 seconds remain in the first half. Wabash leading 13-5. DePauw trying to get on the board at least by a field goal some manner before the end of the first half. Ball's at the 22-yard line, and again, some very, very big things coming up. Lansu is 8 of 14 for 60 yards. He has been picked off twice, once by Velen, once by Chad Bush.
And we've mentioned Sean Gardner's name quite a bit today. So far here in the first half, 15 carries, 65 yards for the junior out of Indianapolis. He went to Broad Ripple High School. He's on his way to possibly doing something the Tigers haven't seen all year long, and that's have a running back go over 100 yards.
Well, this time Gardner is again slotted to the left. Melchiori is the lone running back. Jamie Kuna flanked wide right. Bradley Hill wide to the left. 2nd down and 6 for DePauw at the Wabash 22. Lansu looks right. Pump fake. He's being chased. Throws on the run. A deep stop and go. They say no catch. What an effort by Jamie Kuna as he made a diving effort in the end zone. Had it for a split second. Could not hang on. The stop and go. And he had everybody beat, but just couldn't hang on. He's sprinted as hard as he could, but he just couldn't hang on.
What an effort by Jamie Kuna, the sophomore out of Westford, Massachusetts. He's been a big play guy for the Tigers throughout his career and just almost comes up with it. You see the ball just hits the ground before he can bring it in, and it's not a touchdown. But that would have been a big play for the DePauw Tigers. We're going to take another look at it from a different angle. The ball just hits the ground before he brings it into his body.
Big third down play coming up now. We've got 17 seconds, and Lansu stumbles and falls at the 25. And again, they have no way to stop the clock because what they're facing is a fourth down. They need a field goal effort. Fingerhut hustling on, the clock ticking away to 7 seconds to 6. They're trying to line it up. I don't know if they've got too many men on the field. The snap, we got a flag down. Fingerhut's kick is way short. But the problem, they just couldn't stop the clock, and that no timeout situation came back to Burnham.
Bob, that's a moment that's going to haunt DePauw Tiger fans because several years ago at Little Giant Stadium, Wabash came back from almost 20 points down in the fourth quarter.
All right, let's go across the way, and we're going to talk with Greg Carlson, his team leading 13-5.
Thanks, Bob. With me is Coach Carlson. Coach, in the first half, we saw some mistakes, but we're still on top. What changes can we look for in the second half?
Well, we need to catch the ball. We've had 2 potential touchdown passes dropped. We're not doing well enough on first down. We need more production on our first down. We're putting our quarterback in a third and must throw on long situations. We got to get a lot sounder. We're a little sloppy on offense right now. We got to clean it up. We got to make the plays. We got senior kids out here. They should make the plays in the big game.
Thanks, Coach. Now back to you, Bob.
All right, Greg Carlson's Little Giants leading 13-5. Here's what happened on the last play. People trying to get on, was it going to be a kick? Was it going to be an offensive play? And coming across, Bradley Hill almost intercepted the snap. And that's what cost the flag. Too many men on the field. That's what stopped the play. And the kick by Fingerhut was short anyway. Here at Blackstock Stadium at the half, it is the Wabash Little Giants 13, the DePauw Tigers 5. We'll be back after this short break. This is the Monon Bell Television Network.
I'm here with DePauw University President Robert Bottoms. President Bottoms, what does a game like this mean to DePauw?
Well, first off, I think it means a lot to our players just to have the opportunity to play in a game for the 100th time. I think it means a lot to the players to play before this many people in a Division III game. And certainly if you look around the stands today, it means a lot to the alumni. There are a lot of former players back, a lot of former coaches back. We're all having a wonderful time. We want to score a few more points and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, President Bottoms. We'll be right back after this break. Keep watching the DePauw University Monon Bell Network.
I'm here with President Andrew Ford, the 14th president here at Wabash College. President Ford, this is your first Monon Bell game. How do you feel?
It's unbelievable. An absolutely incredible experience. I've never seen anything like it. What really makes it special is that you have here people going all the way back to the class of 1926 and young people in arms of their parents. It's really unbelievable.
Great. Thanks a lot, President Ford. Now back to you in the booth, Bob.
Statistics, well, there's some very interesting ones. Probably, Joe, I see the stats, -6 yards rushing. There's no way I believe that. Somebody's made a mistake. DePauw's rushed for 103. Somebody had to have flip-flopped those.
Well, I wish that were the case, but obviously it is not. 103 to -6, just an unbelievable disparity in the rushing yardage, and part of that is because of the high snap on the punt. Rushing yardage is lost there. And then the passing yards, again, that looks like a flip-flop, but obviously it is not. The difference in the game, as we expected all week long, was the turnovers. The DePauw defense has not been spectacular, but they have done exactly what they needed to do. That is force turnovers to give Chris Ings and the offense the football. They've capitalized with 10 points on the 3 turnovers.
Yeah, the first turnover gave Ings and company a chance to drive the length of the field for a field goal. As you can see, Chris has thrown the ball 13 times, completing 10. That's a pretty good percentage for 117 yards. Lansu's over 50% at 8 of 15, Scott, but the 2 interceptions, Scott MacGregor from DePauw with us, obviously the one early in the game, field position, it didn't hurt him very much, but the 2 interceptions have been the difference.
That's right. Brian Lansu has had pressure on him all day. One of those interceptions caused by pressure. Another one was just tipped before Jay Pettigrew could come up with it. But if the Tigers are going to come back and win this ball game, they're going to need Lansu to step up. We're going to look at the rushing comparison. Sean Gardner is having a big day for the DePauw Tigers. 15 carries, 65 yards. 4.3 yards per carry, and that is without Ronnie Herman in the ball game. Gardner has been switched to the tailback position. Out of fullback is doing a great job.
Snively and Melchior each with 3 receptions. Eric with 41 yards and Mark with 18. Neither one of them scored, but Snively's 25-yard catch certainly did set things up. The biggest play in the first half to me, the single play, if you're looking at offense, was the little screen to Cogan. He runs by 1 and over 2 and gets the ball to the 1-yard line that set up Ing's touchdown, a 1-yarder. DePauw heading back toward the field right now. Somebody asked me at halftime, can DePauw win this game? Obviously they can. They're not out of this thing at all, and they've moved the football very well. They just have to stop turning it over. DePauw is already back out on the field, and Wabash in the end zone down to our right. They are about ready to come back. It's 13-5 in favor of Wabash. We're going to take this short break. This is the Monon Bell Television Network. All right, let's go down to the sideline. Gregor Mann is there with Coach Nick Morosis.
Okay, Coach, looks like you're still within striking distance of 1 touchdown. What do you see that's pleasing you right now?
Well, number one, we have to stop those turnovers. There's no question that they've scored on every one of our turnovers so far. We just got to hang in there and keep moving the ball, and if we don't make any mistakes, we can put the ball in the end zone. That's what we're trying to do.
Sounds good. Good luck with the rest of the game.
Thank you very much.
That's Nick Morosis, the coach of the DePauw Tigers. Again, both teams meeting at midfield. Again, we have one thing we're going to tell you about right now. The scoreboard to our right in the end zone is out. So we're going to have to hopefully get some time left by just by folks letting us know how much time is left in the quarter and the yards and that kind of thing. Brent Harris, who's keeping our stats, has been outstanding at getting us information, so we'll keep relying on him as well. Scoring by quarters, Wabash in the third quarter has really had a problem. Not so much as DePauw. DePauw outscored by 52 points in the third quarter. Keep in mind, both teams have outscored their opponents in the fourth quarter. So the third could be a very, very big key for both teams here. Wabash and DePauw have had trouble in third quarters. We'll see which one of them has the best third quarter today.
Wabash is going to get the ball to start the third quarter, and I think, Bob, imperative that they get points on the board right off the bat here in the third.
They've got the wind advantage in the third quarter. They need that. They lead it by the score of 13-5. Scotty, DePauw obviously has to try to get field position one way, force the quick 3 and out.
That's right. The defense is going to have to step up really big on this drive. And as we see the dead scoreboard, as Bob mentioned, hopefully we will be getting some time updates from people up here in the press box. But the third quarter is going to be key for the Tigers, but they are a very good fourth quarter team. They came back their 2 wins this year. Both came in the fourth quarter against Hanover, and then an excellent game against Taylor as they win on the last second field goal. So the second half has been good for the Tigers, and they're going to have to step up and play big here.
Chris Wiesehan goes deep, but again, he'll be up at around the 10, maybe the 12-yard line to accept this kickoff. And for DePauw, Patrick Evans will be doing the kicking and getting things underway in the third quarter, but the ball flips off the tee. The wind, again, gusting most of the day. He's had some problems there.
This is a little different from what we saw in the first half. Ben Fingerhut doing the kicking then. Now it's Patrick Evans, a junior out of Indianapolis.
He went to Warren Central High School there, and he will try to kick it as deep as he possibly can. A whole host of balloons floating over the stadium at the moment. Chris Wiesehan is in a position he may have to field one of the balloons before this one's over. The kick is a knuckleball, bounces around the 25, picked up across the way, returned to the 32-yard line, and that is where Wabash will have their first play. Eric Snively's the man who returned it. Let's check with Amanda. Amanda Lott's down on the sideline. Amanda?
Bob, I'm here with Robert Doc Farber, who graduated from DePauw in '35 and was Dean of Admissions here for 26 years. Doc, what's your favorite Monon memory?
36 years ago, I was sitting right up there, and we needed a field goal to win, and Fred Williams went out there, and he kicked a field goal in the last second, and we won the game.
Thanks a lot.
For that. I never forget it.
Inside handoff to David Cogan. He gets out from the 32 to about the 35, maybe the 36-yard line. Squeezed out 4 on the play. It'll be second down and 6.
We talked about Wabash with negative 6 yards rushing in the first half. Another reason that they have not put up big rushing numbers. Chris Ings, who is an outstanding running quarterback, 3 carries for only 3 yards and the 1 touchdown. But Bob, we have not seen any of the design rollouts and quarterback sprints that Wabash has utilized throughout the year.
Second down and make it about 6.5 yards to go for Wabash. The ball is at their own 36. Ings rolls to the near side, gets some pressure, but throws underhand down the field. Picked off! Intercepted by DePauw and knocked out at about the 40-yard line. And the man coming across, John Holloway, makes the interception. A big turnover for DePauw. Great field position at the Wabash 40-yard line. And it gives the Tigers, Scott MacGregor, great field position early.
That's right, John Holloway, the freshman, coming up with his second interception of the year. Ings puts up the pass. You see he rolls out, then gets a little bit of pressure, but mostly has time to throw. It gets tipped by Mike Gramhofer, and then it lands in the hands of John Holloway, the freshman out of Fishers, Indiana.
1st and 10 for DePauw at the Wabash 40. The give is to Gardner up the middle. He's at the 30. He's at the 25. Booms his way to the 24 before he knocked down a big run of 16 yards. A first down for DePauw inside the Wabash 25-yard line.
Sean Gardner is carrying this offense single-handedly. He is coming up with a huge game today with Ronnie Herman out of the game with a hamstring injury. Sean Gardner, the junior out of Indianapolis, with a big one.
The ball is at the 23-yard line as again they send Jamie Kuna wide to the left side, both Melchiori and Hill to the right. The lone running back is Gardner. Lansu is the quarterback. He gives the ball off to Gardner, hit at the line of scrimmage, spun around, and Adam Vella, the second man through, makes sure he goes no further. A loss of a yard or two back to the 25. It'll set up second down and about 11.5 to go. We are just underway in the third quarter. Again, the scoreboard clock is out. It is 13-5, Wabash leading DePauw. DePauw on an interception by John Holloway has the ball second down and will call it 11 at the 25-yard line of Wabash. Big chance for DePauw to get back into the football game. Tight end Jay Pettigrew set to the right side. Hill and this time Gardner slotted to the right. The running back is Melchiori. Kuna is split wide to the left side. Lansu drops the throw, looks quickly to the left, fires one over the middle. It's almost intercepted. Bill Warren, the middle linebacker, was right there. Whether he got a hand on it, I'm not sure, but he was the closest man to it. And it is now third down and 11, and a big play upcoming. And again, Scott MacGregor has talked about it. 22 interceptions from the starting quarterbacks certainly have not helped anything this year. And that's certainly nearly another one for Brian Lansu. 3 of 8 on third down conversions for DePauw today. This time they've got about 11.5 to go. They break the huddle, and Bradley Hill goes wide to the left side. Jamie Kuna comes wide to the near side. Pettigrew is the H-back set right. The I formation as they send Pettigrew in motion to the far side. Lansu rolls to that side, whistle. Let's see whether it took too much time to get the play underway or what. Okay, illegal procedure against DePauw. That cost them 5 yards and sets up 3rd and 16. Something the Tigers certainly didn't need there. The clock is back and so is the scoreboard. It's working. Thank you very much. Wabash penalties 2 for 10 today, and DePauw 4 for 39. 13 minutes and 5 seconds, the official time remaining in the third quarter. It's 13-5 Wabash. It is 3rd and 16 to go for a first down. The ball back at the 30-yard line. Again, Brian Lansu is the man under. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 right. He drops straight back. Has time. Now the pressure collapses. He fires it over to Melchiori. Melchiori breaks it through to the 20. Cuts inside, dives down close to the 15-yard line. He's shy of the first down, but he certainly made a good recovery on there, and it's 4th and about 2 or 3, depending on where they actually spot the football, at about the 16, and let's see exactly where they are going to put it down at the 17-yard line. So he needs to gain 3. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Pick up on the play of 12.
And Bob, Ronnie Herman trotting back into the game now, so this could be big for the DePauw Tigers. We're going to look at the replay here. Lansu coming across and looking, finds Melchiori in the flat on the screen pass, and then he gets a good block there. Can't tell who that is, but it was a nice block, and then Melchiori getting some good yardage out of it.
Chad Bush with a good tackle to have the play come short. Fingerhut apparently going to attempt what would be a 34-yard field goal out of the hold of Ronnie Herman. Well, let's see if there's something up. The snap is high, and Herman rolls to the right side. Looks to throw. He's going to run. He's at the 20. He's at the 15. Dragged down at the 13. Now, let's see exactly where they spot it and what the situation is. Ronnie Herman, I think that was going to be a fake all the way, but the snap was high, and he ran to the right side.
Bob, the Tigers
bring the chains in.
The Tigers put this play in practice this week. They talked about running it on Thursday, and they run it here. Ronnie Herman looking for some running room, and he just turns it up. Looks like the hamstring's okay there, and we're going to see the chain gang come out and measure for the first down.
He's the normal holder, so that is one of those things that you can do with a running back or a quarterback, but the spot and the measurement looks like a first down for DePauw. But let's make sure it is first down Tigers. The ball at about the 13. He gained 4. He needed about 3.5. So it is first down DePauw. The ball at the 13-yard line. 12 minutes to go, third quarter. Wabash 13, DePauw 5. The Tigers break the huddle. Jamie Kuna goes wide to the left side. Wide right comes Bradley Hill and Melchiori. The lone running back is Sean Gardner. Again, Brian Lansue is the man under. Takes the snap, gives it to Gardner, spins off one tackle, dives to about the 10. Adam Vella hit him at the line of scrimmage, spun him around a bit as we got timeout called by the officials. And down to the 10-yard line on the play was Sean Gardner. Now let's see what the official is going to talk it over. I don't see a flag, but is there one down? They're talking things over. Maybe the time on the clock is what they might be discussing.
Gardner trotting off the field. He looks to be very hurt. It looks like an ankle possibly. And Ronnie Herman's going to have to come in the game, but that could be a big loss, Bob. Sean Gardner has really carried this offense here today. He's up close near the 90-yard mark in rushing, I believe, and that could be a big loss. We're going to get a replay here and look at what happened to Sean Gardner. He gets the handoff from Brian Lansue, then comes in. You see a good block by Dan Wees, but Vella grabs him, and it looked like he kind of twisted his ankle there in the middle of the mass of jerseys.
Or somebody fell on him, which is always a possibility. He gained 84 yards on 18 carries so far today. He got the ball down to the 9-yard line, which makes it second down and 6. And I think they also wanted to adjust the clock, which they did, to 11 minutes and 34 seconds. 13-5, Wabash leads it. The ball is at the Little Giant 9. DePauw has it second down and 6. Brian Lansue comes back to the huddle. Big drive coming up now as they'll flank Ronnie Herman wide to the left with Jamie Kuna. Melchiori is the lone running back, and the Hill split to the right side. Second down and 6. The juggling handoff, diving on top of the ball is Brian Lansue. I think he got it back. Kyle Kuba was there trying to pick it up. So was Ryan Pitcock. Neither could get it for Wabash as Lansue dove on the fumble. The ball just popped out of his hands, and it's back to about the 12. It'll set up a big third down play now for DePauw.
So Bob, the Tigers just a second away from heartbreak there. Brian Lansue makes a heads-up play, gets back on the ball. But again, that could have been another costly turnover.
All right, let's check down on the sideline with Gregor Mann on an update on the injury. Gregor?
We saw Sean Gardner go out there, but it's just a simple Charlie horse. He's going to walk it off, stretch out a little bit, and he'll be back in the game.
He's back in there now.
We also saw Herman on the fake field goal right there. The word I got was that he'd be out for the rest of the game, but apparently we're not sure at this point. Now back to you, Bob.
Ronnie Herman scores on a little swing pass to the left side. Herman back into the ball game and stretches it out, a 12-yard touchdown throw from Brian Lansue to Ronnie Herman, and Herman with the touchdown, and they're right back into the football game at 13-11. That's the first receiving touchdown for Ronnie this year, his third overall, and it is now 13-11, possibly a two-point conversion. No, Mike Fingerhut is in the game with 10:35 to go third quarter. You probably go for one here.
Boy, what an effort by Ronnie Herman. He's injured. He has a hamstring pull, comes back in the game. He was the MVP of last year's Monon Bell game after rushing for 105 yards and scoring a touchdown off a Brian Lansue pass. We see the same combination here today as the Tigers get back on the board.
Herman will hold, and Fingerhut will try to bring the Tigers to within 1. Snap, the ball is down, the kick is up. It looks good. It is good. With 10:35 to go third quarter, it is Wabash 13, DePauw 12. That's the score from Blackstock Stadium. We'll be right back after this short break. This is the Monon Bell Television Network.
Well, with the score, Wabash 13, DePauw 12, we're going to look at a couple of plays on that scoring drive by the DePauw Tigers. Here, Brian Lansue rolling out is going to look and find a receiver. He finds Ronnie Herman on the touchdown. Herman with all kinds of room to run and scoots into the end zone. And here you see Brian Lansue, who's had a tough game to this point, but comes up with a huge toss there. He hugs co-captain Jimmy Facilla. And Ronnie Herman, the MVP of last year's Monon Bell game, coming up with another big touchdown catch this year as the offensive line congratulates him in the end zone.
Plenty of time left in this football game. This is one that appears to be going right down to the wire. Wabash leading 13-12, 10:35 to go in the third quarter. The Little Giants ready to receive the kickoff. DePauw kicking into the wind. High floater coming toward David Kogan, who fields it at the 21. To the 25, looks to the far side, trying to get a block, trying to turn the corner, gives up a couple of yards, turns it back to the 30, 35, and plows his way out near the 40. Matter of fact, he crossed the 40, got to the 41-yard line, which is where they'll put the football down. A 20-yard return for David Kogan, and good field position for Wabash with 10:26 to play in the third quarter. And again, Joe Emmick, they've got field position, they've got the wind at their back. This is a quarter that Wabash has to dominate, and so far DePauw has on that turnover.
You're right. We talked about the Wabash defense forcing turnovers, while the Wabash offense, which has not turned the ball over many times this season, gave up a big one there on the Ings interception. It leads to a DePauw touchdown, but Wabash still maintains the lead, albeit by only a single point, and they have outstanding field position here.
All right, Chris Ings back under center. Sends Hardesty in motion. Gives to Kogan right side, tries to cut back up the middle. Very, very short gain. Let's go down to the DePauw side. Amanda Lotz. Amanda?
Bob, I'm here with Tommy Mon, ex-DePauw coach and athletic director. Coach, how have things changed since when you were coaching?
Well, things really haven't changed. It's still the same exciting game. Overcast skies, and it's coming down to maybe the last 10 seconds when DePauw wins. We just brought our first team in from the library, and they're going to do the job.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Back to you, Bob.
He may be right. Who knows? Ball's at the 41-yard line. It is second down and 9. 9:50 to play, third quarter. Wabash clinging to a 1-point lead. The Little Giants with the ball. And Ings drops to throw. Big throw for him, being pressured. Rolls back, hit, gets away, still on his feet, and throws the ball back the other way. And over the throws the receiver. Down around the 30-yard line. Craig Hardesty was the man there, but I'll tell you what, Chris Ings did a great job, A, getting away from people, and B, throwing the ball back the other way and threw it a long way.
And that is exactly what Ings has been doing all season long. I'm not sure why we haven't seen him move around a little more and run more, and we'll see a replay of the scramble here. Lost his footing, but has a great sense of balance, stayed up without touching the knee. Right there you see the slip, and he eludes the defender, rolls to his right, and manages to squeeze off the pass and ducks the sack. And that is something we had not seen today from Chris Ings, and I'm not sure why we haven't seen Chris roll more and sprint out a little more here this afternoon.
John Boyden wants to know the same thing, why he's not on the ground back there. Third down, big third down as they are 2 of 6. Ings started to run now, heaves the ball deep, intended for Wiesahan. He's got it at the 5-yard line. Down there, Chris Wiesahan with a great catch, rolls down to about the 3. Big play with Chris Ings as he started to run, saw Wiesahan open and fired to play covered 54 yards.
That is it, Bob. That's exactly what Ings brings to this offense, and it's what he's done all year long. You cannot come up hard on him when he starts to roll because he throws so well against the grain. Let's see it here. Again, he is rushed. He has to sprint out of the pocket and just maintains his position back there and wings a deep bomb to Wiesahan, who beat the defensive back, and it's all the way down inside the 5-yard line. Wabash with a big offensive play they've been looking for all day long, and it's the quarterback Ings to the senior receiver Wiesahan.
First and goal from the 3-yard line for Wabash. They lead by a point, 13-12. The quick pitch to Kogan coming to the near side. Good blocking, turns the corner, runs into trouble, and down he goes. Right there, Holloway comes over. The safety makes the hit just as it looked like Kogan was going to turn the corner and go. He doesn't get anything. The ball is at the 3-yard line. It'll be second down and goal to go from the 3-yard line.
Here's the pitch out to Kogan on the sweep. Gets a good pancake block out on the point of attack by Craig Hardesty, but the defensive back staying at home, coming up to string out the play. Lost maybe a half-yard on it. The Wabash will get another crack on second down and goal from about the 3. And of course, Wabash in this territory in the first half picked up their only touchdown on a short plunge by Chris Ings. Would not be surprised if they try a fade pattern here to either Wiesahan or Snively going to the corner of the end zone.
And both of them come wide to the near side. Now they send Wiesahan in motion to the far side. Back to throw his Ings. He's turning the corner, looks, trying to cut upfield, trying to follow a block. Submerged, gets free, scores! Chris Ings on a 3-yard run. They had him, couldn't hold him, and Ings for the second time today finds the end zone, and it's now 19-12 in favor of Wabash. But the big play, the 54-yarder from Ings to Wiesahan at the 3-yard line. But Ings down, no, maintains his balance, keeps his balance, hide behind the blockers. He's short, he's able to do that, simply hid behind offensive linemen and was able to fight his way free and into the end zone. It's 19-12 with the extra point to come.
And now we know why I'm in the broadcast booth and not on the sideline coaching. We've seen them go to that fade pattern in the past in that situation, but instead they go to Chris Ings, and when we get a chance to look at the replay, you'll see the outstanding second effort that got him into the end zone.
Again, Hefner will hold, and Alex Costa will try to add the 20th point. The snap, the ball is down, and the kick is up, and the kick is good. So with 8:17 to play, third quarter, it's the Little Giants of Wabash 20 and the Tigers of DePauw 12 with still plenty of time to go. Here's a replay on what happened, Joe, on that touchdown.
You see Weezahan go in motion. They fake to Kogan on the sweep. Ings will take it himself. It's a quarterback keeper end around. He can't get around Kogan's block, has to cut inside. Looked as if he was going to go down there, and look at the lower body strength. Keeps the legs pumping, sheds 2 or 3 tacklers, and goes in the end zone. And Bob, we mentioned at the beginning of the second half that Ings had only rushed the ball 3 times for 3 yards. He had not utilized his mobility. Here on 3 consecutive plays, he does so, and they end up getting in the end zone.
5 plays, 60 yards, 2 minutes and 18 seconds. It is 20-12 in favor of Wabash.
Well, Bob, Chris Ings with an outstanding play there, but you saw the Tigers had a couple of chances to tackle him, and that's been a problem for them all season long. Continues here today as a sophomore quarterback runs in for the touchdown for the Little Giants.
Chris Ings has scored twice, once from 1 yard out, once from 3 yards out, the 2 Wabash scores. And it is a 20-12 Little Giant lead with 8:17 to go third quarter. Alex Costa, if he doesn't slip and fall in the mud, is going to put one probably pretty deep because the wind again at his back. Bradley Hill and Jamie Kuna have dropped deep. We'll see whether Costa wants to just put the leg to it or whether he would try to hang one up and perhaps position DePauw inside the 20. Good coverage by Wabash most of the afternoon has given DePauw not very good field position following kickoffs. So again, Alex Costa is the man who will try to see what he can do about it this time with 8:17 to go in his third quarter. He approaches, puts the foot into it, and we're back underway. This time he'll hit a good one. Bradley Hill fields it about the 4, brings it right up the middle across the 15-20. He breaks it to the 25, spins away from 1, and goes down at about the 29-yard line. He was hit pretty hard in there, and 25-yard return and coming across to make the tackle. David Hubster, who had been listed as a starting linebacker early in the week, but Ryan Pitcock starting for him, and Ryan's played very, very well. Again, a 5-play, 60-yard drive with Chris Ings going 3 yards to put the Little Giants up 20-12. Ball at the 29. It is DePauw's ball, first down. Brian Lansu's job, get him back in the end zone as quick as you can. He gives the ball up the middle to Gardner, bounces to the outside, turns the corner to 30, gets a block, but not far enough to knock down for a gain of 6 on the play at about the 36-yard line. Across the way on the Wabash side, we've got John Bradley. John?
1989 graduate. He is the all-time leading receiver at Wabash. Mike, what is it about this Monon Bell rivalry that makes it so intense?
Well, I think it's because this rivalry's been rooted in 100 years of football tradition that makes it so special. Because what happens is it creates such a sense of emotion, a sense of adrenaline, and such a high level of excitement out here that when you come to Wabash as a freshman, you quickly learn how important it is. And it's really a great thing to be involved with.
All right, thank you, Mike. Now we're back to you in the booth, Bob.
Second down and 3, and Gardner took it right up the middle and got a couple. It'll be third down and about 1 for DePauw at their own 38-yard line.
We just saw Mike Funk, a 1989 graduate from Wabash. He had a spectacular day here at Blackstock Stadium in the 89, I'm sorry, actually it would have been the 88 game. His senior year, his final game as a Little Giant, he played 3 ways a la Rod Woodson in his final game for Purdue, and he returned a kickoff 91 yards for a touchdown.
Third down and 1, a big play here for DePauw at their own 38-yard line. They trail by 8. They give up the middle to Gardner. Big play, cracks that out across the 40 to the 43. And I'll tell you what, somebody in that mass of humanity reached out and grabbed him by the ankle. Otherwise, Mr. Gardner may be still running. He gets it out to the 43. It is a first down for DePauw.
Well, Sean Gardner, again, doing an excellent job up the middle, and credit that offensive line. They're doing an outstanding job. We're going to take a look at the replay. That offensive line with Dan Elmore at center, leading the Tigers right up the middle. All kinds of room there. Gardner does a good job of protecting the ball as he gets some yardage up the middle.
I think he stumbled more than somebody tackled him, too. Ball at the 43. He's gained 93 yards on 20 carries so far. He and quarterback Brian Lansu converse. First down for DePauw. Ball at the 43-yard line of the Tigers. Lansu drops to throw, gets some pressure, rolls away. Now he's going to be knocked down. Coming through, good play, Tracy Smith with the tackle and the sack back at around the 36-yard or the 34-yard line. A loss on the play of about 9. It'll be set up second and 19. Long play coming up. Good pressure up the middle by Tracy Smith again. He's been there several times today. Some real close pressures. This time he was able to wrap Lansu up.
And that is Smith's team-leading 6th sack, and he did. He came untouched right up the middle. Lansu had no time, and Smith doing a good job of wrapping him up, something that Wabash tacklers have not done today. They've been arm tackling and allowing a lot of the backs to slip free. That time, an outstanding tackle on the sack by Smith.
2nd and 19, DePauw. Double tight end with Pettigrew actually set up as a H-back to the right side. The give to the near side, cutting is Gardner, hit and knocked down right at the line of scrimmage by Adam Vela again. Vela has had one great defensive football game today. He is a 5'11", 216-pound junior, one-year letterman out of Cherville, and he makes the big stop at the line of scrimmage at the 34, sets up 3rd down and 19. 5:15 to go, 3rd quarter. Huge play coming up for DePauw here.
Well, Bob, one guy we haven't seen very much today is Jay Pettigrew. He's been a freshman sensation for the Tigers, and Coach Nick wanted to use him more today. And if the Tigers are going to establish a passing game here in the 3rd quarter, they're going to have to go to Pettigrew.
Again, big day for Gardner, 99 yards on 22 carries, just short of becoming the first back this year to gain 100. Back to throw is Lansu. He needs 19 yards. Throws it across the middle. It is tipped and almost intercepted. I think it was Vela again who got a hand on it and tipped the ball wide. And the crazy thing, Moore was coming across, and I think he thought he had a pick, and Vela deflected it. So Moore's mad at his teammate for taking an INT away from him, but it does force a punt. And into the game, Roussel comes into the ball game to punt it for DePauw. Matt has averaged 36.3 coming into today. Chris Wiesehan is the single safety set around the 30. Takes the high snap, gets a high floater. Pretty good punt into the wind. Wiesehan fields it at about the 28, starts far side, comes up the middle, crosses the 35, spun around, gets to the 40, and out to maybe the 42 or 43-yard line by the time Chris finally hits the turf. Again, good field position, something that Wabash or DePauw, when they've got to have to take advantage of with the wind.
Bob, this is something that the Wabash defense has not done all year, and we'll get to that in a moment. Let's go down to Gregor Mann on the DePauw sideline.
Being the 100th Monon Bell game, it's a very special game and deserves some special extras. An alumnus from the 80s, Don Popovic decided that he wanted to give the players jerseys to remember the game by. As a result, they sold replicas of the jerseys and raised enough money to pay for all the jerseys for the teammates. So the players today will be able to keep their jerseys that you see them wearing. Now back up to you, Bob.
Kogan spins loose for the first time and cracks across midfield into DePauw territory, down to the Tiger 49. The good field position set up by a 12-yard return by Chris Wiesehan off a 46-yard punt. Kogan's run is 9 at 2nd down and 1. 4:20 to play in quarter number 3, as again Kogan comes up the middle, hit at the line of scrimmage, but again, as Scott MacGregor points out, you got to wrap him up when you hit him. He spins free, rubs himself off a couple of would-be tacklers, and picks up 9, 2nd down and 1. Chris Ings, the man under. Ings, who has scored 2 touchdowns today, will give it to Kogan again across the right side. It tripped as he crosses the 45. He's got the first down at the DePauw 43-yard line.
On that last David Kogan run, we saw something that Wabash skill players do very well, and that is block. Nate Baker and Craig Hardesty at the point of attack, turning the defenders inside, sealing them away from Kogan. And that is something that Wabash takes great pride in, is that their skill guys, especially the receivers, are outstanding blockers.
You just saw Keith Hafner on the sideline wigwagging the signal into Chris Ings. He's got a first down at the DePauw 43. Kogan is the lone back, 2 wide out set to the right and 1 to the left. 3:38 to play 3rd quarter. Wabash leads it 20-12. Ings back to throw, looks for the quick slant, throws. Snively's caught it down at the 30, spins inside of the 28. Knocked down there, but another quick throw. Chris Ings to Eric Snively, takes it down inside the 30 to near the 28-yard line. Both Snively and Wiesehan, if you joined us late, have caught balls in all 36 games they have played. This is their senior year, their 4th Monon Bell game. Again, a good throw by Chris Ings and right on target. That's one of these things that if you're a receiver, you just love, because that ball hits you between the numbers. You just wrap it up and take as many yards as you can. 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line of DePauw. You look for the run, you can hit that quick slant pretty often, and Ings has done it pretty well. Ings looks right now, throws to the sideline. Wiesehan's got it to 22, 20, inside and knocked down at about the 15-yard line. He's got another first down.
And Bob, on this drive, David Kogan has hit the milestone that Little Giants fans have been waiting for all day. He now has 13 carries for 38 yards. He now has 1,000 yards rushing on the season. And here you see the first down reception by Chris Wiesehan on a little out pattern, just about 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage to set up a Wabash first down. And before we went down to Gregor a moment ago, I was going to mention that the Wabash defense did something on that last series they had not done all year. They answer by getting the ball back without giving up a score and give the ball back to the Little Giant offense with the lead.
Cogan turns the corner on the right side. Geese goes over 1,000, goes inside the 10, down around the 7 or 8 yard line before he's finally knocked down. Scott?
I'll tell you, fellas, what scares me about this drive is David Cogan. This is very reminiscent of 2 years ago right here at Blackstock Stadium. Cogan carrying the ball 7 straight times on the drive that led to Wabash's win over DePauw. And we're seeing the same thing here today. Cogan just plowing through and picking apart the DePauw defense.
2nd down and 2, the ball at the 8 yard line as Wabash leading by 8, trying to build on it in the waning moments of quarter number 3, 2:43 remaining. They break the huddle. 2nd down and short. Chris Ings 13 of 18 today for 198 yards and 1 interception. He gives the ball up the middle and running down around the goal line down to the 1 yard line. Ings pounds his fist. He wanted that touchdown badly, but Cogan got stopped at about the 1 yard line. 1st and goal to go. They may put it down at, let's call it the 2. 1st and goal to go from the 2 yard line. 2:37 left.
We'll take a look at the running play. Just a quick hit to Cogan. Blasts off left tackle, takes the defender head on, and actually gets a couple of more yards after the initial hit, and the DePauw Tigers will take a timeout to talk things over defensively, and Wabash knocking on the door again thanks to a defensive stand the last time DePauw had the football, and Bob Wiesehan really set this drive up with a pretty good punt return to give Wabash good field position at about the 41 yard line.
All right, let's check on the Wabash sidelines to see what's going on over there. John Bradley. John?
Thanks, Bob. Back in 1967, another tradition of the bell is that teams try to steal it from one another. In 67, DePauw feared that Wabash would steal the bell, so one of their own students stole the bell and buried it in the end zone. This year, the bell was kept at the Fideout House on campus. Now back to you, Bob.
Oh, now you tell us where it is, John. Nice. If we'd have known that a couple of days, you never know what might have happened. Ball's at the goal line. 1st down and goal to go for Wabash at the DePauw 2 yard line. Cogan, 7 carries for 35 yards this quarter. As he, as mentioned by Scott MacGregor, has turned this into his quarter. Wabash leading 20-12, and all of this has come about after DePauw drove down to make it 13-12. For the game, 15 carries, 52 yards, and over 1,000. He and Hardesty are the back set up behind Chris Ings on 1st and goal to go from the 2 yard line. In motion, Wiesehan heads to the far sideline. Quick pitch to Cogan, trying to get outside right, trying to turn the corner, knocked out, fumble the football out of bounds, but he'll be down at the 2. Maybe inside of the 1. We'll see where. I think it's the 2 is where they'll put it down. It's still 2nd down and goal to go. They'll move it to the 1. Cogan coughed the football up, but it bounced out of bounds. Good break for Wabash.
They ran the sweep. They were looking for Hardesty to cut down the defensive back at the point of attack. He couldn't quite get it done. Actually, that was Wiesehan out there blocking. I'm sorry, it was Wiesehan and not Hardesty. And you see Cogan undercut it about the 2, lost the football. Unfortunately for Wabash, it goes out of bounds.
2nd down, goal to go from the 1 yard line. In motion back to the near side, Eric Snively. Ings dives into the end zone, his 3rd touchdown of the day. Chris Ings cut off the right side as the motion had everybody moving the other way. There was a huge hole off the center and right guard, and Ings just dove in. He scored 3 times. Wabash has opened a 26-12 lead, and Alex Costa will try to add the 27th point.
Ings that time on a quarterback keeper right behind the right side of his offensive line. Kevin Hornick, the right guard. Jason Farabee, the right tackle. Hornick out of Indianapolis, Farabee out of New Albany. And this offensive line, one of the best, if not the best in the league coming in, has done an outstanding job again today, paving the way for 3 Chris Ings touchdowns.
Hefner puts the ball down. Costa gets the kick up. It is no good. He missed it to the right side. So with 2:21 to go, it's a 2-touchdown lead. Wabash 26, DePauw 12. And for Chris Ings, a 3-touchdown afternoon.
And we'll take another look at Chris Ings' touchdown. The hat trick for Ings. You see right there, he just goes off the right side. The offensive lineman bury the DePauw defensive lineman. Ings with a little jump. May not even have been necessary. And he now has 3 touchdowns via the rush on the day. Came in with 6, so he has 9 rushing touchdowns on the season. He and teammate Eric Snively, along with Keith Hefner, embrace on the sideline in celebration. Wabash has jumped out to a 26-12 lead over DePauw. And Bob, in the second half, the key has been David Cogan's involvement and Chris Ings' mobility, something we did not see in the first half. Going to the locker room, Greg Carlson told us that the seniors need to step up and make the big plays. These aren't seniors involved right now, but certainly whatever Greg said to the offense in the locker room has gotten the job done.
Well, you got a couple of seniors up on that offensive line. Hornick for one, Farabee for one, Durrell for one. Those guys have all paved the way for some good running in the second half. And I think the big thing is what they did after DePauw cut it to 13-12, because if the Tigers come up with a big stand there, then it could be a different game. But Wabash goes the other way and gets 7. 8 plays, 58 yards on this latest touchdown drive. Chris Ings, a 1-yard run, and it is 26-12 in favor of the Wabash Little Giants.
And a senior did have something, though, to do with that scoring drive because, as we mentioned, Weezahan on the punt return did a nice job to get it out to the 41-yard line and set up good field position.
And don't forget the quick pass to Snively, and he had a big hand in it, too. Everybody with a big hand in it, but it's 26-12, and this thing is far from being over because DePauw can move the football. They have done that a lot today to avoid the turnovers. End-over-end kick headed toward Bradley Hill again. He takes it a yard deep. He's going to bring it out. Comes to the near sideline looking for some blocks. He's at the 15. He's at the 20. Finds a hole. Crosses the 30 to about the 31-yard line before Mike Mannion trips him up there. And it's first down to DePauw with pretty good field position one more time. They just have not been able to move the ball as consistently as Wabash in the second half. 19-yard return. Actually, that was a little bit more than a 19-yard return. Taking a yard deep in the end zone, a 32-yard return for Bradley Hill.
There you see quarterback Chris Ings exchanging high fives with Wabash Sports Information Director Jim Amadon. Ings' rushing numbers not as impressive as they have been, only 7 yards, but they have all been very valuable as he scored 3 times.
Melchiori rides it to the right side, crosses the 35 out to about the 36. A gain of 5 on the play, and Ryan Pitcock, the linebacker, in there to make the stop. Mark Melchiori with the run.
Bob, the Tigers finding their running game today. They came into the season expecting to put some good rushing numbers up on the board. Unfortunately, it hadn't happened in many games so far this season, going to a 2-7 record coming into today's game. But today, between Sean Gardner, Ronnie Herman, and Mark Melchiori, the Tiger running attack has pounded the Little Giant defense.
Second down and 6 yards to go for a first as Lansu is the man under. Drops to throw, looks to the right, swings it out in the flat, dropped by Sean Gardner. He better scoop that ball up, which he does at the 29. That could have been a lateral. It was, I believe, ruled as a lateral. It should have been, and that means the ball is possession. It's the 29-yard line. A good play by Gardner. If he gives up on that ball, Wabash could have recovered it. Let's go to the Wabash sidelines and John Bradley.
Killer Kilbane, class of '84. Jim, you're a former linebacker who helped organize the Monon Bell alumni game. Why aren't you playing this year, Jim?
John, it's pretty simple. I broke my thumb last year and then my nose the year before that. We organized it, have lots of fun. It's a good way to keep in touch with the rivalry.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Now back to you in the booth, Bob.
3rd and 12 for DePauw at their own 30-yard line as Lansu drops to throw. Has time, sets up, throws it over the middle, incomplete. Scott Beasley was the guy intended for. The young man from Greenwood went up, had it in his hands, but couldn't hang on. It would have been a first down, and that'll bring on the punting unit. Roussel comes in to do the punting one more time. Matt is average 36-3 coming into today, and he'll try it one more time. The line of scrimmage, the 30, and Chris Weezahan drops back, and again, with 50 seconds left in the quarter, an all-out rush, it would seem, from Wabash. They're coming after from the far side, but Roussel gets the kick away. An end-over-end kick hits at the 40, bounces to the 35. Weezahan fumbles, picks it up at the 31, and he's plowed under right there. Matter of fact, he may have lost a yard back to the 30 before the play is all over.
The Wabash defense now twice here in the second half has been able to hold DePauw after the offense has put points on the board, something they've had difficulty doing. Now, the defense, as we mentioned, has been much maligned throughout the year, but 2 weeks ago in the Rose-Hulman game, the defense came up big, holding Rose-Hulman to only 13 points. Here this afternoon, they have managed to come up with the big plays when needed in the biggest game of the season. So congratulations to Pete Germano to this point, getting his defense to come up and make the big plays.
Roussel's punt, a 40-yarder, no return. The ball's at the 30-yard line. But once again, Wabash with the ball as Ings drops to throw, looks. He's airing it out down the right sideline, and it's too far. Intended for Chris Weezahan. He couldn't quite catch up with it. 2nd down and 10. 37 seconds left with the Wind, leading by 2 touchdowns. Nick Morosa's club, he's got something to figure out because he's going to have the win for the final 15 minutes. That could be very, very important before this thing is all over.
I also think that that play on the deep fly pattern to Weezahan is a sign of Greg Carlson's attitude about this game. He knows that a 14-point lead with just over a quarter to play is not safe. He obviously is not going to get conservative. He wants to go for the jugular here.
Two wideouts, actually three to the right side as Ings on second down with 37 seconds left in the third quarter. Fakes the pitch, now looks for the screen, not there, swings it out in the flat. It's caught by Whizahan at the 30, breaks the tackle 35-40. He's at the 45, midfield into DePauw territory, down to the 40, inside there to about the 38-yard line. Nice quick play. They faked the pitch to Cogan, went back with a quick screen to Whizahan. He was hit as he caught the ball, broke that tackle, and ran down the sideline 32 yards to the DePauw 38-yard line.
That's the play with which they opened the game, a flanker screen, and it almost was disaster. A poorly thrown ball, but Whizahan with a lot of experience made sure he caught the ball before turning upfield, dodged a tackler with a little stop-and-go move, gets down to about the 38, maybe the 37-yard line, and that's a play that is now effective because David Cogan has become a prominent factor in the second half. They can play fake to him and really sell the fake because he's been running so well.
Drew Marte made the tackle and saved a possible touchdown. They give us to Cogan, starts right, bounces outside 35. He's at the 30, he's at the 25 and knocked out of bounds inside the 25 at about the 24-yard line, but that'll be good for another Wabash first down with 3.9 seconds remaining in quarter number 3. The Little Giants lead the game 26-12. And some defensive changes for DePauw. John Kramer heads back on the field along with Kevin Mendenhall. They try to beef up the line. They'll put it out at the 25, they say, is where he first stepped out of bounds. It's still a first down. But 3.9 seconds, time for probably one more play unless Ings throws a quick incompletion. First and 10 again at the DePauw 25-yard line. Ings brings Hardesty in motion. There was movement on the right side of the offensive line. And Jason Farabee is one of those people there's a little upset. Or was it Hornick who jumped? It may have been Hornick.
Offside called.
Yep, Kevin Hornick is the guy who jumped. He's a little mad at himself. A 5-yard move back to the 30-yard line. There's still 3.9 seconds. It's first and 15. And back into the football game for the DePauw Tigers. Mike Gramhofer out of Hammond. He replaces Matt Watkins. First and 15 for Wabash. Probably the last play of quarter number 3. Wabash leading 26-12. Ings fakes, keeps the ball, turns the corner, gets inside the 25, down around the 23. That'll end the third quarter with Wabash on top by the score of 26-12. 15 minutes to go in this, the 100th Monon Bell game. But here at Blackstock Stadium, the score is Wabash 26, DePauw 12. We'll be back after this short break. This is the Monon Bell Television Network.
Although it's the fourth quarter and the defense is now frustrated and fatigued, they're not about to quit. And that's shown by players such as Mike Gramhofer, who came out with a turned ankle, got a little tape, and he's back in the game. Defense feels its back is up against the wall, and if they give up any more points, that this game is over. So they're ready to stop Wabash and get us back in the game. Now back up to Bob.
You know, something you should know about Gregor before we get to the stats. He was in a play last night, did a great job there. Now he's out helping us out today, so he's had a busy weekend. Statistics, 284 yards for Wabash, 258 for DePauw. Passing yards certainly favor Wabash. The rushing still favoring DePauw, but the 54 is such an increase over -6 that you can see what Cogan's presence here in the third quarter has done. We head to the fourth quarter, and again, Wabash with a second down and 8. They have the ball at the DePauw 23-yard line. Chris Ings, who has rushed for 3 touchdowns this afternoon, the man under, drops the throw, looks for the quick throw. Whizahan just cannot quite come up with it at about the 15-yard line. A little bit behind him, but one of those that Chris probably thinks he should have caught. And Chris Ings probably thinks he should have thrown it better. And the DePauw club is certainly happy that neither was true. Ball at the 23-yard line. It is now 3rd and 8. Third down conversion, 2 of 7 for Wabash today. That's one of the areas where they have not done all that well. Whizahan with 7 catches for 148 yards today. Third down and 8. They'll operate out of the shotgun. They keep Hardesty and Cogan back. Send Snively in motion to the far side. Snap to Ings, drops to throw, sets, looks, flag on the play, throws over the middle. Whizahan's got it at the 10. He's at the 5, he'll score. Chris Whizahan, now the question, what about the flag? I think we got holding on Wabash that'll rub it out. That's exactly what it is, so forget the score, but a nice catch by Whizahan. And unfortunately, he's got to bring the ball back and let him play.
Boy, the Tigers got lucky there. Some blown coverage in the secondary, and unfortunately for DePauw, the touchdown is called back.
That'll move the football back, and a very, very big break for Wabash on that one. 14:47, we're just into the fourth quarter. And again, Ings thought he had the touchdown throw to Weezahan, but he knows what that call is, and every quarterback knows when something's gone wrong. Ball back to the 40-yard line and set up 3rd and 25.
See him there get a little pat on the helmet from Jason Farabee, the senior right tackle. Farabee thought it was a touchdown. You could see Ings kind of say, oh, there's the flag, and point down to the ground. And Greg Carlson on the far sideline was not happy. He's all over the officiating crew for that call. But nonetheless, it will stand, and Wabash has a touchdown nullified. They've got 3rd and a country mile.
Yep. 3rd down and 25. Both teams have been penalized 4 times today. Ings drops to throw. Pressure coming up the middle. Little screen caught by Kogan. Kogan has some blocking. Turns the corner 35. Gets outside of the 30. Trying to cut back in at the 25. He's not going to make the first down. He might not even make the 25-yard line. DePauw comes up with the football. They wanted the takeaway on that one, but they're not going to be giving it. Mike Callahan came up with it. Amanda Lotz has an update for us on the sideline. Amanda?
Bob, I'm here with Don Poprovac, president of DePauw's Alumni Football Club. Don, what has alumni response been to the game?
It's been absolutely fantastic, Amanda. We have over 300 former football players that played from decades starting in the 30s all the way through the most recent graduates. They came back here to support the Tigers in the Centennial game, and it's been absolutely stellar. The response from them and the emotion. No matter what decade they played in, they still feel the Tiger pride, and they're trying to demonstrate that there today.
Thanks a lot, Don. Back to you, Bob.
All right, we've got a DePauw player shaken up on the play, and that's the reason for the clock stopping with 14:17 to go. Apparently, Chris Rao is the guy who is down inside the 30-yard line. 4th down and 12 is what's coming up. Scotty?
As Don mentioned, there's been some outstanding alumni response to this Monon Bell game. There have been some telecast parties all across the country. One going on in Cincinnati right now at Willie's Bar and Grill on Montgomery Road. So hello to all those folks out in Cincinnati.
All right, let's take a look and see how Chris Rao came up with what appears to be an ankle injury. He gets caught in traffic and gets cut down with a nice block and winds up grabbing that ankle real quick. He did get back up and try to get in on the play, but Chris Rao shaken up, and he comes to the sideline with the help of the training crew. Big 4th down coming up for both of these clubs right now. The ball is at the DePauw 27-yard line, just inside the 27. 4th down and 12. Chris Ings will go out of the shotgun. They are obviously going to disdain the field goal with a 26-12 lead. Now, Chris is really unhappy. They may have to burn a timeout here because both wideouts went to the left side. He tried to get Snively to move, but they didn't want to, and Ings really upset. Has to call the timeout.
And he is yelling at 2 seniors, and he's only a sophomore. That gives you an idea of how much respect Chris Ings has on this football team, and it also gives you an idea of how intelligent and how mature he is, albeit he's only a sophomore.
14 minutes and 8 seconds left in the 4th quarter here at Blackstock Stadium. The score is Wabash 26, DePauw 12. We'll be back after this short break. This is the Monon Bell Television Network. Chris Ings hoping that he's got everything straightened now with everybody going in the right direction. He's 15 of 22, 244 yards. He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass, but he's run for 3. He's had 1 picked off, and he faces 4th and 12. The ball at the DePauw 27. This is a huge play for DePauw. They've got to stop him here if they're going to have any chance of really coming back and winning the football game. They need to make a stop as Ings drops to throw. Some pressure coming up the middle. He works away from that pressure to the sideline, throws back across his body, incomplete, and DePauw has stopped them. They'll take over at the 27. Scott MacGregor alongside. Now, Scotty, DePauw only has a couple of wins, but this is the situation they won 2 games.
That's right. They came from behind in both. The first was a 21-14 win over Hanover, where they came back and they played good defense in the 4th quarter against an explosive Hanover offense. Sean Gardner scored 2 4th-quarter touchdowns, and right here, DePauw has the ball, a chance to put some points on the board. Their second win was a comeback win over Taylor, so we could see the same thing here in the Monon Bell game.
Ryan Lansu's got to have a big quarter here as it's now 14 minutes to go in the game. On the delay, drops to throw, sets up, looks, throws just before he's hit down the sideline, intended for Jamie Kuna. Kuna had it bounce off his shoulder, incomplete. It was deflected by Chad Bush onto the shoulder of Jamie Kuna. He couldn't hang on, incomplete at his 2nd and 10. Tell you what, Brian Lansu aired it out. He did have a little help from the wind, but he threw that ball a long, long way.
Well, Bob, that's one of the reasons Brian Lansu started the game today and is still in there. He has got the better arm of the 2 quarterbacks, and he puts this one way up in the air, just a little behind Jamie Kuna. It's tipped. Kuna still almost comes up with it, and that could have been a big play for the DePauw Tigers.
Brian wakes up in the morning or sleep tonight. He's going to see 92 and 93. Brian Vance and Tracy Smith in his dreams. Tracy again had some good pressure just before he got rid of the ball. Rolling to the near side this time. Lansu throws back across his body. It is incomplete, intended for Ronnie Herman on a screen, and the ball popped free, incomplete at his third down. Once again, Tracy Smith was right there, and Lansu has to throw just before he gets hit.
The DePauw offensive line has had troubles all day with the defensive line stunting, as we explained earlier. The tackles will loop to the outside, the defensive ends hook back to the inside, and it really crosses up the DePauw blocking scheme. For the most part, though, they've been able to avoid sacks and set up big screen passes. That time, Herman had it right on his hands and couldn't come up with it.
3 of 9 in third down conversions, and Lansu and company face a 3rd and 10 at their own 27-yard line. Drops straight back to throw this time again. Racing after him is Smith, but he gets away from him. They get a block. Now they loop it upfield. It is knocked away. Pettigrew went up, and he was in a battle for it along with Bill Warren, the middle linebacker, and the ball falls to the turf. Incomplete. It's 4th and 10, and they're going to have to punt the ball.
And again, Tracy Smith was in Lansu's face on the pressure. You'll see it here. Lansu dropping back. Tracy Smith untouched. Goes right between the offensive linemen. Almost brought Lansu down, but forced him out of the pocket and forced a bad throw.
All right, again, Roussel will punt the ball. Wiesahan back around his own 30. Roussel gets away the punt. Good floater this time. Wiesahan fields at about his own 31. Heads to the far side, gets a block, crosses the 40. He's got blockers 45, 50 into DePauw territory and hauled down at about the 43-yard line. Sean Gardner is the man who made the tackle inside the 45, or again, Wiesahan has much more room. Good field position, 42-yard punt, 28-yard return.
Sean Gardner doing it on offense with the Tigers and on the special teams as he saves what could have been a long run by Chris Wiesahan.
Ball is at the DePauw 42. Wabash in control, 13:27 to go, and the Little Giants lead 26-12.
Chris Wiesahan has had an outstanding day returning punts. He came into the game with over 4,600 yards of all-purpose numbers. That is first all-time in Wabash history. He has 613 career yards in punt returns, so obviously he adds to this team not only as a pass receiver, but as a kick returner.
Sean Lyons a little eager to get that block on the first play from scrimmage. Cost the Giants 5 yards. They'll move it back, and it'll be at the 48-yard line, or 47, 1st and 15.
Something else that's very interesting about Wiesahan racking up nearly 5,000 all-purpose yards is that he has only carried the ball one time in his entire career. It's all receiving and return yardage. That only carry coming on a 35-yard play off of a reverse 2 weeks ago against Rose-Hulman.
Again, you've got Kogan and Hardesty in the backfield. Wiesahan splits to the right, Snively to the left. Chris Ings faces 1st and 15 from the DePauw 47. Gives the ball to Kogan up the middle. He's got running room across the 40. Smacks down around the 37-yard line. A pickup of about 10, but it'll be 2nd down and 5. Brian Foley on the Wabash side. What's cooking your side of the field?
Earlier in the week, Coach Carlson talked about fatigue in the secondary of DePauw's defense. They've exploited that with the last 2 scoring opportunities. Let's see if they continue to do that here on this possession. Now back upstairs.
10-yard run sets up 2nd down and 5. 13 minutes exactly, a little less than that now as Chris Ings brings him out of the huddle. The ball at the DePauw 37-yard line. You would think at the moment with a 14-point lead they might try to burn some clock and run the football, and that's what they're doing. They give us to Kogan. Kogan stacked up at the line of scrimmage, fought forward for a yard, maybe 2 to the 35-yard line. We'll set up 3rd and about 3. Again, the middle of that DePauw line collapses around him and makes the play there. And Benson Henry from Houston, Texas, a junior. 6'2", 230 pounds was the guy who got the tackle at the 35-yard line. 3rd down and 5. Kevin Kogan has rushed for 77, or David Kogan rather, 70. Kevin does something else for a living. 19 rushes, 77 yards for David Kogan. Ball is at the 35-yard line. The split backs again behind Chris Ings. Wiesahan split to the right, Snively to the left. 12:10 to go. They give us to Kogan up the middle, and David's got the first down as he fights inside the 30 all the way down to about the 27. And out there leading the blocking, Andy Dorrell out of Brookville, a 2-year letterman, a senior, 6'1", 235 pounds. 8 yards on the play for Kogan. Puts him over 80 today. He may get close to 100 before this day is all over.
Here's Kogan, the first man through, and as Bob mentioned, a great block by left guard Andy Dorrell out of Brookville, Indiana, to turn the defender away and seal off the running lane for Kogan. Dorrell playing guard this year. He started 8 out of 9 games last year at center, so he's obviously a very versatile offensive lineman.
Quick pitch again to Cogan, trying to get outside left, turns the corner, comes back and got a yard at the 26. Second down and 9, 11 minutes and 35 seconds. This thing's not over for DePauw yet by any stretch of the imagination, but they certainly have to come up with some defensive stops here and not let DePauw on the boards. 2 scores, tough to make up. 3, with that much time, that little time left, 11 minutes, that'll be very difficult.
This second half is reminiscent of the 91 game in which Wabash trailed in the 4th quarter, and then David Cogan literally took over as a freshman, carried the ball every time on the final scoring drive. Here in the second half, he's just been simply outstanding.
Second down and 8, the ball at the 26-yard line. Ings takes the snap, looks for the quick pass, fakes now on the stop and go, airs it out, intended for Weezahan. He catches it out of bounds. And back there defending on the play was Drew Marte, and he out of Winnetka, Illinois, just let it go because he knew Weezahan was out of bounds. And you don't want to risk a penalty there. 3rd and 8.
Nice job by Ings on that play to make sure he threw it above the defensive back and did not risk the interception. There are the rushing yards, 164 for DePauw, 75 for Wabash. And that 75 yards is evidence of a great second half. They had -6 yards rushing in the first half. Passing yards, the exact opposite of what we expected. Wabash with 244, DePauw with 84.
Ings will go out of the shotgun on 3rd down and 8, takes the snap. Drops straight back, has plenty of time. Pump fake, rolls to the right side. He's got running room, but he drops the football, kicks it ahead, picks it up. The ball is knocked down at the 24-yard line. And now let's see, I think Ings picked it up, and the crowd down below us wanted to, the penalty for kicking the ball. I'm not sure he did it on purpose, just as much as trying to pick it up, he kicked it ahead.
Finally, we see Ings take off and run the ball himself in a non-goal line situation, and the wet ball just slipped away, and he managed to keep it in front of him and did the smart thing by falling on it, not trying to pick it up and run.
They put it down at the 25, Scott. It's 4th down and 7. Here's the big play for DePauw. A field goal attempt of 42 yards by Alex Costa. Even the field goal makes it a 3-score differential, so this is a huge play. Kick is on its way. It is short in the end zone, so the differential remains at 14. 42 is his longest of the year. He tried to match it, but again, he's kicking into a pretty strong wind, so DePauw takes it over. They trail 26-12. John Bradley's across the way. John, what have you got?
We're here in the Wabash sidelines with Gordon Coulson, our Director of Alumni Affairs. Dr. Coulson, what a wonderful weekend it's been for you so far.
Yeah, John, it has. It's been incredible. We had a great banquet last night in Indianapolis. Our alumni team won this morning, 13-0. We're winning this game. It's great. Just want to say hello to all our alumni out there in TV land. Hope you're having as good a time as we are.
Thank you, Dr. Coulson.
I think Brian Goodman is in the ball game now at quarterback for DePauw. Let's check and make absolutely sure it is. Goodman drops to throw, fires up the middle, intercepted by Vela, his 2nd of the day, 3rd of the year at the 30, takes it right down to the 24-yard line. Adam Vela with another pick. 4 today, is that right? Vela's got 2. Chad Bush has 1. And I'll get the 4th in a moment, but I think that's 4 interceptions today. And just a big pick here. Vela with his 2nd interception of the day. To me, he has been the outstanding defensive player. He's been everywhere, and gives them great field position at the 23-yard line.
Bob, this is just a misread by Brian Goodman. There's no receiver even close. Jay Pettigrew was across about 5 yards over on the right side, but that was a misread by Brian Goodman. It's happened all season long. And
yeah, here's the play, and again, he got crunched by Alan Patterson just as he threw the football.
But the Tigers turning it over again, giving Wabash another scoring opportunity.
Chris Ings, inside handoff to Craig Hardesty, and Hardesty's got some running room. Crashes across the 15 down to around the 13 and very close to a 1st down. Again, they fake the pitch to Cogan and go up the middle to Hardesty, and Hardesty's got big yards.
As we've mentioned, Hardesty, a very hard-nosed football player. That's only the 9th time he's carried the football on the 93 season, but as you see, when called upon, he gets the job done. He's a senior out of Glenbrook, Illinois, plays the H-back spot, also plays a little fullback, and now that Cogan has been rushing so well, they can play fake to him, set up a pass, they can set up the counter play to Hardesty as they just did there.
2nd down and 1, the ball at the 14-yard line. Chris Ings rolls himself, turns it up. He's at the 10. He's at the 5 to the 1. Chris Ings nearly had his 4th touchdown of the day as he, stretching the football out as far as he could, got to the 1-yard line. And again, the fake to Cogan occupies linebackers. He turns it upfield on the outside. And what's happened now, it appears that interception by Vela has taken a lot of steam out of the Tigers on the near sideline.
We see the end zone shot. There's the hard fake to Cogan. You see everybody swarm to him. Ings with a running lane off the left side, and that's another impressive thing about Chris Ings. For a quarterback, he is not afraid to take a hit.
Give it to Cogan, and he goes in standing up. He lost the football, but he was in the end zone when he lost it. Another 6 on the board. It is now Wabash 32, DePauw 12 with 9 minutes to go, and the extra point still to be attempted. So again, Cogan with his first touchdown today, but for Cogan on the year, that is the 15th rushing touchdown, 16 overall. He has scored 98 points this year. So David Cogan has had, again, a big afternoon. It started slowly for him, but the one touchdown, and again, he loses the ball when he's hit, but he's about 5 yards deep in the end zone when Farnham hit him.
And again, the left side of the offensive line got the job done. Left guard Andy Dorrell turning the defender away and sealing off the lane for Cogan, who scores his first touchdown of the day.
Alex Costa will try to add the extra point. It's on the way, and it's good. And with 9 minutes to play, it is now Wabash 33, DePauw 12. Costa will kick it off, but again, he's kicking into the wind. But Bradley Hill and Jamie Kuna have dropped back around the goal line. An outstanding day. David Cogan, 88 yards rushing, 22 carries, 1 touchdown. Was Wabash really -6 at halftime? It's hard to remember. Again, Costa will kick it out of Vella's hold. 9 minutes exactly to play. Wabash up by 3 touchdowns. Right down the middle, the ball bouncing, heading for the far sideline, but doesn't get there, so it's picked up by Kuna. Kuna tried to point out the people that need to be blocked. He cuts it back up the middle of the field, crosses the 25, gets to about the 27 before he's finally ridden down. And one of those coming over for Wabash to knock him down, David Hubster. 14-yard return for Jamie Kuna, and now this is really a do-or-die drive for DePauw.
Tigers with their backs to the wall. They really need to put something in, and Sean Gardner hobbling off the field again. That's not good for DePauw. He's been the biggest part of their offense today. Ronnie Herman's back in there. He's going to come in the slot on this play, but he's been hurt today too, Bob.
Mark Melchiori is the only running back now. 8:54 to go. Goodman drops to throw. Throws one over the middle, incomplete, off the fingertips of Bradley Hill. Let's check with Amanda Lotz. Amanda?
I'm here with Mac Thorlton, 1961 graduate and Director of Alumni Relations. Not only do we have a full house here at Blackstock, but we've got alumni watching in 35 different cities. Mac, do you have a word for them?
I sure do. I want to welcome all of the DePauw alums across the country, from Seattle to Summit, New Jersey, from Detroit down to Fort Worth, Texas, and particularly express my gratitude to the DePauw organizers who made these great telecasts possible. Without your help, it couldn't have happened. Thanks very much.
Brian Goodman has fumbled, and Wabash has recovered at about the 25-yard line. That is exactly what DePauw did not need. Wabash with another takeaway at the 25-yard line, and the turnover gives the Giants the football in great field position again already with a 21-point lead.
Bob, once again, just very characteristic of the Tigers season. Things just don't fall into place. The little Giants recover the ball, and it's really too bad for Brian Goodman, who's had a good career at DePauw, comes into the game ranked 5th as the all-time leading passer in DePauw history, and 2 turnovers on these last 2 drives for the Tigers.
They say it's at the 27. Wabash with great field position again. The ball is given to Cogan. Cogan trying to break a tackle, trying to get to the outside, being chased to the far side, and Mike Callahan runs him down at about the 33 for a big loss on the play. Callahan not quitting at all out of West Lafayette, 6'3", 216 pounds. Horse-collared Cogan on the far sideline and dropped him for what appears to be about a 6-yard loss. Less than 8.5 minutes to go in the football game. They put it down at the 33, loss of 6, second down and 16. Callahan with the tackle, and now Chris Ings and company leading 33-12. They don't want to get real fancy here, but you also would like to burn some time, and the only way you can do that is with first down, so we'll see what they do. Time remaining in the ball game, 8 minutes. As Chris Ings out of the shotgun. Inside handoff to Hardesty, heads to the... No, Ings keeps it himself and dives ahead of the 30. Good fake. And Chris carries the ball down around the 30-yard line. Not a tremendous gain on the play of about 3 yards. It sets up 3rd down and 12, but a good move inside as he faked the handoff to Hardesty and kept it himself. Again, burning some time on the clock. We're down around 7.5 minutes to go. 33-12. Wabash with the lead and the ball inside, just inside the 30-yard line of DePauw. Hardesty and Snively go wide to the left side. Weezahan wide to the right. Again, on a 3rd and 12, they'll have Ings back to throw. Ings rolls right, sets, throws blocked at the line of scrimmage. Nice defensive play. And coming across, is that Timmy Hedrick out of New Palestine who knocked it down? Tim Hedrick got it and knocked it away as Ings tried. It's the second time today in the middle of the field he's tried to throw the ball a little bit sidearm. The first one was the one that wound up as being an interception. This time it was knocked down. And Frazier will try to position DePauw deep in their own territory with the punt. You know, the field goal, he's kind of out of range there, and they were hustling to get everybody onto the field now. Bill Warren, the personal protector. The snap is high again, but Frazier pulls it down, gets the kick away, an end-over-end kick, spinning down at about the 20, and it's going to be down by Wabash at about the 18-yard line. Not much of a punt. Mike Mannion downed it there. Let's go to the far sideline, the Wabash sideline, and John Bradley.
We're here on the sideline with Tim Kennedy. He's a former Little Giant All-American. Tim, can you tell us what it's like to play in a national championship game?
Well, my sophomore year in 1977, we went to the Amos Alonzo Stag Bowl in Phoenix City, Alabama, national championship game. It was obviously very exciting. Yeah. It was a great opportunity for all the players and for the school to get national media attention for a small school like Wabash. It was all around a terrific experience, and I'm glad I was able to participate.
All right, that's great. Thanks a lot, Tim.
Brian Goodman back to throw, throws over the middle. This one's complete, but for a short gain out to about the 24. A gain on the play of just about 5 yards. Sean Gardner, the receiver. And I think for Brian Goodman, that's a real confidence builder there. He had thrown an interception. He had fumbled a snap. They've got to get something going. There's still just under 7 minutes to go. A lot of time left, but they need 3 scores to tie. Again, Goodman drops to throw. Sets, looks, throws up the middle, completed to Jamie Kuna. Kuna tries to shake a tackle, can't quite, gets to the 39. Mike Mannion knocks him down. Scott?
Bob, Brian Goodman's in the game right now for one specific reason. That's because he's the better of the 2 quarterbacks at running the no-huddle offense. You see the Tigers going to it now. He led the Tigers to a comeback in their loss at Manchester. They scored 12 points in the 4th quarter, even though they lost, and so Goodman in there to direct the offense.
All right, Brian Goodman has him at the 39-yard line, first down, 6 minutes, 29 seconds. The clock is moving. Goodman again drops to throw. Again sets up, throws to the sideline, complete to Ronnie Herman, who gets out of bounds at about the 45, maybe just across to the 46. The clock stops, though, with 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go. That's what they've got to do, use the sideline, stop the clock with the first downs. They've got to move the chains, move the football, but they've got to score rather quickly. They can't take a long, long drive here because there just isn't much time. Bradley Hill wide to the far side. Jamie Kuna wide to the near side. Goodman on a 2nd down and 3 from his own 46-yard line. Again drops to throw. Pretty good protection. Throws to the sideline. Bradley Hill's got it at the 45. Gives ground. Breaks the tackle and gets to about the Wabash 43 before he's dropped. But that is, again, a first down.
Bob, you talk about confidence building. Brian Goodman not giving up in this ball game. Even though the Tigers are down with 6 minutes to play, he's coming back. He's now completed about 3 or 4 passes in a row. And the Tigers moving the ball down the field very well.
11-yard gain there. The ball is at the Wabash 43. First down for DePauw with 6 minutes exactly left to go in the game. Goodman again drops to throw. This time pressure, but he steps up in the pocket. He's going to run the ball at the 40, hauled down at about the 39. Pickup of about 4 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 6. At that time, he didn't have much else to do. He had to do something with the football. Nobody open. He ran it up the middle and picked up some yardage before Alan Patterson wrapped him up. 2nd down and 6. Goodman in the game, 4 of 6, 38 yards, 1 interception. That was the first pass he threw. Goodman again drops to throw. Looks, sets, rolls to the near side, being chased by Patterson. On the run, fires on the run. Wide open is Kuna to 20. He's at the 15, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Jamie Kuna. A very quick score that Wabash desperately, or that DePauw desperately needed. The play covered 39 yards, and now it is 33-18.
Well, Bob, the Tigers at times self-destructing today. They come up with a huge drive here. Brian Goodman directs it, gets the touchdown pass to Jamie Kuna, and this is the spirit of this DePauw Tiger team. They may have appeared to be dead, but they are not. They're coming back, and Jamie Kuna with a beautiful dive into the end zone for the touchdown.
All right, now will Mike Fingerhut go for 1 here? It appears he will. He's on the field. 33-18 is the score.
6 plays, 81 yards.
Ronnie Herman will be the guy who will hold the football on the snap, and Fingerhut will try to add the 19th point.
Waiting for the snap. It's high. The snap. The ball is down. The kick is up. It's good. With 5 minutes and 18 seconds to go, it is Wabash 33, DePauw 19. And again, a 39-yard throw from Brian Goodman to Jamie Kuna. And that does it. An 81-yard drive in 6 plays, covering only 1 minute and 49 seconds. And again, Brian Goodman flushed out of the pocket with Alan Patterson in hot pursuit just before he gets to the sideline, turns and actually throws on the run off the wrong foot, but Kuna is wide open at the 20, and he's able to win the foot race down the sideline into the end zone. The play covered 39 yards, and he just missed that sideline. But in any event, he's in the end zone. It's 33-19.
Well, Jamie Kuna, who went to the Nationals in diving for the DePauw swimming team last year, comes up with a very acrobatic dive into the end zone here. And a credit Brian Goodman on that play for not being flustered as he rolls out of the pocket and completes the pass to Kuna. Very heads-up, smart play by Brian Goodman.
Now you would think that there's probably going to be an onside kick, so the hands team on for Wabash right now. Lots of receivers with the good hands up close. And Mike Fingerhut is the guy who's got to execute this, and then somebody would have to recover. Or Wabash, with 5 minutes and 18 seconds to go, would certainly have a chance to, in good field position, move down and perhaps even get some more points. Wabash leading by 14, 33-19 with 5:18 to go. But again, this is one of those things where you never know.
Bob, you mentioned the hands team up front for Wabash. Weezahan, Snively, Baker, Borgert, and backup quarterback Keith Hefner along that front return line for Wabash. So all very sure-handed skill players ready for Fingerhut's onside kick.
Benjamin Fingerhut will kick it off for the DePauw Tigers.
The Tigers are going to need a big defensive stop, and you never know what could happen. We've talked about it. 2 comeback wins for the DePauw Tigers this season, and with about 5:18 remaining in the game, anything is possible here at Blackstock Stadium.
All right, let's see how Benjamin executes it here. The kick is on its way, bouncing around, a high kick, and it's grabbed by Wabash. They control the football as Craig Hardesty picked it off on the hop and took it right out of bounds. So it's just into DePauw territory, but it is Wabash football. Now let's go to the DePauw sideline, and down there is Gregor Mann. Gregor?
Just a minute ago here on the DePauw sideline, heads were hanging low, and it seemed as though all hope was gone from the Tigers. But that touchdown seemed to rekindle the Tigers' fire and get some hope back in them. But with that failed kickoff right there, the Tigers are starting again to get a little bit down, but we'll see what will happen here.
All right, the ball is at the 48-yard line of DePauw. It's in possession of Wabash. The Little Giants with the lead. The give is up the middle to Kogan. He's hit at the line of scrimmage and wrapped up right there. Perhaps got back to the line of scrimmage. Might have lost a half a yard on the play. Mike Gramhofer was one of those who submerged on the play, and also in on it was John Kramer. No yards, nothing on the play. 2nd down and 10. Clock ticks away, though. Less than 5 minutes to go. The clock is certainly an ally of Wabash right now, with the Little Giants leading 33-19. Ball is again at the DePauw 48-yard line. 2nd down. Snively wide to the left. Weezahan wide to the right. Hardesty sets up as a wingback to the right. Kogan is the only running back behind Chris Ings. Now they send Hardesty in motion, but just as he heads that way, Ings says, whoops, something's wrong. I don't like this timeout. So with 4:35 to go in the game, Wabash stops the clock. Let's again check with Amanda Lotz on the DePauw sideline. Amanda?
I'm here with Bob Fribley, class of 1935, who is on the 33, undefeated, unscored upon team. Bob, what do you remember of the Monon game back in 33?
Well, in 33, I remember the fact that Wabash was as tough as usual, but we were unusually coordinated that day. And so with our good passing and with the strong running of our fullback, Red Pierce particularly, plus all the other good defensive action of our team, we were able to hold off Wabash and make the 2 crucial touchdowns that won 14-0.
Great. Thanks a lot.
We're back here at Blackstock Stadium. It's 33-19 in favor of Wabash. 4 minutes and 35 seconds to go. It is 2nd and 10 for Wabash. They recovered the onside kick at the 48 of DePauw. First play got nothing, but now they've got to come up with something. If the DePauw Tigers can hold them here, they certainly have a chance to get decent field position and do something about the 14-point deficit. 2 wideouts to the left, both Weezahan and Snively out that way. Ings will go out of the shotgun. With Kogan in motion, Ings rolls to the left side. We got a flag down as Ings tucks the ball, runs himself. He's at the 45, cuts back in, tripped up at the 40, dives for the 1st down stick, and he's very, very close. But the problem now is the flag and what that is. The officials talking, I think we got a illegal procedure against Wabash. Rub it out. 5-yard penalty. We'll move it back into Wabash end of the field. Clock ticks down to 4 minutes and 28 seconds. It stopped at the moment with a penalty. Folks of all ages here to see this game. Won't tell you who the oldest is. I may qualify, but the youngest, certainly, that's one of them right there, riding on his dad's shoulders. What a great way to see the game. Penalties in this game. Wabash is penalized 6 times for 42 yards. DePauw 4 times for 39 yards. 2nd down and 15 for Wabash. The ball is at their own 47. 4 minutes and 22 seconds. The clock is moving. Wabash with the football, and the penalty hurt him 5 yards, but they still get to run a couple of plays. Ings with both backs, well, they were set. Now Hardesty repositions to the right of Cogan. Ings keeps the ball himself, cuts up the middle, runs into traffic, and goes down short of midfield. Again, Graham Hoffer was one of those there, but I think he was the second guy, as off the bottom of the stack, Tim Hedrick again in there with the tackle at about the 48 or 49. They'll put it down at the 49, set up 3rd and 16. Scott?
The Tigers coming up with some big defensive stops here after that touchdown pass from Brian Goodman to Jamie Kuna. The time is ticking down. The Tigers down by 14 points. They have to hold them on 3rd here, get the ball back, and score within 3 or 4 plays on the next possession.
It is 3rd down and 14 for Wabash at their own 49-yard line. 3:27 with the clock moving. Ings will send Snively in motion to the far side. Takes the snap out of the shotgun, drops to throw. Gets some pressure, now stands in, throws one over the middle, incomplete. So it'll be now 4th down. The clock stops with 3:17 to go. And Sean Frazier coming on. Now the one thing that DePauw certainly can take heart in, the snaps to the punter, Sean Frazier, have not been good ones today. One sailed over his head for a safety. 2 others have been high. So Frazier drops back, and we'll see what happens here.
Back for the ball, number 5, Bradley Hill.
Stands outstretched. This is a pretty good snap. They're coming for it, but they don't get it. But it's a high floating kick. Fair catch call for by Bradley Hill. Never touch it. Ball hits at the 35, bounces sideways. Still rolling at the 35, inside of the 34. But good field position with 3:06 to go on a 17-yard punt from Sean Frazier. So again, good field position for DePauw, but the clock is not their ally. 3:06 to go. They need a quick touchdown.
Tigers are going to have to run a controlled passing game. They're going to have to run to the sidelines. I look for Jay Pettigrew, the tight end, number 84, a freshman out of Indianapolis, to get some of the catches, and either Bradley Hill or Jamie Kuna on the sidelines, but they can't afford to throw across the middle. That'll just eat up time.
All right. Again, Hill comes wide to the near side. Kuna wide to the far. Goodman drops to throw, sets up, has protection, throws one over the middle, not complete. Diving, that good attempt, Bradley Hill, but he couldn't quite catch up with it about the Wabash 45. 2nd down and 10, 3:01 to go in the game, and Wabash leads 33-19. I know there have been television parties all across the country, and again, it's been a good football game, and it's one of those that still, with 3 minutes to go in the game, is not decided yet. Brian Goodman takes the snap and drops to throw one more time. Sets, looks, throws one over the middle. Bradley Hill catches this in Wabash territory at the 48-yard line, sets up a 1st down, and the clock stops.
Well, Bob, it just proves that Coach Nick Morozis is a lot better coach than I am. I said they wouldn't throw over the middle, but they have, and with success here on this drive.
And again, the clock stops because of the 1st down. 2 minutes and 54 seconds. The play covered 17 yards. 1st down, the clock starts again as Goodman bows under. 2:50 to play in the game as he waits the snap. Takes it and drops straight back. Sets again, gets good protection, looks, rolls to the near side. Still, look, he's going to run. Goodman comes forward to the 45. He is going to get to the sideline, and did he get out of bounds? I don't think so. At the 42-yard line, the clock continues to roll. And on the far sideline, Brian Foley has the Wabash point of view.
Even with 2.5 minutes to go and 14-point lead for Wabash, they are stressing to keep the intensity and stay within the game plan down here.
Gain of 6. 2nd down and 4. 2:20 to go in the game. Goodman, who didn't get the clock stopped, bows under center one more time. Takes it, drops straight back one more time, sets up, gets some pressure, throws to the sideline, incomplete. Diving back, tried to make the catch, Jim Fasella, but he couldn't get there. It is 3rd down and 4. The ball is at the Wabash 42. Trailing by 2 touchdowns with 2:09 to go. They are definitely in 4-down territory. No question there, but on 3rd down conversions, DePauw is only 3 of 9, and the Tigers burn a timeout. One of the 2 they had remaining. Call a timeout with a clock stopped, and I'm sure the coaching staff probably isn't very pleased with that. Brian Goodman comes back to the sideline to talk with the man who started the game, Brian Lansu, and also Nick Moroses to decide what they need to do here. The ball is at the Wabash 42-yard line. It's got they've got to score. You've mentioned they've been using the plays up the middle, which, unless you get a first down, don't stop the clock. But they certainly have been picking up yards. And I think what Wabash is doing now, they're inviting them to throw the ball up the middle. They'll give them the 10 or 15-yarders, keep them out of the end zone, and keep the clock moving.
That's right. I think on those first two plays we saw it go across the middle. Brian Goodman was reading that coverage very well, as there weren't any Wabash defenders around there. But I think you're right, that probably was intentional. Force them into the middle. Don't let them get out on the sidelines where they could stop the clock. Wabash running a very good defensive scheme right now, and the Tigers just have to put something up on the board. They don't have much time left, just about 2:09 remaining, down by 14 points.
And again, they face a 3rd down and 5, and every play is critical, but in order to advance, they've got to pick up a first down. You think they might try to do that on this play to set something up. Brian Goodman, who came on in relief of Brian Lansu in the 4th quarter. He's thrown an interception, he's fumbled the ball away, but he's also thrown a touchdown pass to Jamie Kuna. Again, 3rd down and 5. Goodman drops to throw, sets up, lofts one down the middle, intended for Pettigrew, too far. It hit the helmet of a defender and bounced clear. Chad Bush coming across, had the ball hit him in the helmet and bounced free. It is now 4th down and 5. I think he thought the ball was closer to Pettigrew than it was, and instead of going for the interception, he wanted to make sure Pettigrew went no further. 4th and 5 coming up.
We're going to take a look at this play. The ball in the air, Pettigrew trying to get it, but it does hit off the helmet of the Wabash player. Bounces out. Jamie Kuna a couple yards away from it, can't come up with it. And that brings up the 4th down situation for the DePauw Tigers.
2 minutes and 2 seconds to play in the game. 4th and 5 DePauw. The ball is at the Wabash 42-yard line. Again, Goodman drops to throw. Sets, throws one over the middle. Bradley Hill's got it, first down at the 28-yard line. Nice throw, maybe a little bit high. Mike Mannion made sure there was no interference. He nailed him. Got him. There was no gain on the play after the catch. The ball's at the 27, though. It is first down with 1:58. The clock stops one more time. 15-yard play. Again, Goodman's had a decent 4th quarter after the interception. But under 2 minutes to go, he needs a quick score. Drops to throw. Sets. Throws to the sideline. Bounced and caught on the run by Kuna. Kuna's at the 5. Touchdown, Jamie Kuna. The deflection, and Jamie Kuna catches his 2nd touchdown reception of the day. And all of a sudden, it's 33-25. And this is still a football game with 1:47 to go.
Bob, I don't believe that play. That is just absolutely incredible. I thought that ball was going to get picked off. And all of a sudden, Jamie Kuna picks it up out of the air, runs into the end zone. Bob, strange things happen in Monon Bell games of this much emotion and this much intensity. And we're seeing it here as the Tigers are getting back in the ball game. The extra point by Ben Fingerhut would bring them within 7 with 1:47 left to play. And as we've mentioned on a number of occasions, the Tigers have come back this year. They've won 2 games on comeback victories, and hopefully for the Tigers we'll see a 3rd here.
Ronnie Herman will hold the ball, and Benjamin Fingerhut will put it through the uprights. He does, and with 1:47 to go, you got a 1-touchdown game. It's now Wabash 33, DePauw 26. And again, Benjamin Fingerhut has made some big kicks in this game, extra points that have kept his team in the game, plus the field goal, and it's a 7-point game with 1:47 seconds to go.
Well, we're going to take a look at the touchdown here. Brian Goodman steps back to pass, has good time. We see isolation on Kuna as he looks for the pass. It gets tipped, and then he reaches out, grabs it, runs into the end zone, taking on a Wabash defender as he puts his head in the ball into the end zone, gets the Tigers back into the ball game. We're going to see another angle. Brian Goodman, all kinds of time to throw that. Luckily, it wasn't picked off, and Kuna runs in for his 2nd touchdown of the day. Jamie Kuna, the 5'8" receiver out of Westford, Massachusetts, the sophomore, the big play guy for the Tigers all season long. He does it again, and Bob, this is the 10th consecutive game that Kuna has caught a pass. He's caught one in every game so far this season.
6 plays, 65 yards. There was Ryan Pitcock who had the ball deflect off his hands right into Kuna's hands for the touchdown, and it is 33-26 with 1:47 seconds left to go. And again, Benjamin Fingerhut will kick it off, will attempt the onside kick. The last time, Craig Hardesty came up with the ball on the sideline. Almost executed, but not quite. But this time, with only 1 timeout left, they need to come up with a football.
Bob, this worked for the Tigers against Manchester. They ran an onside kick in trying to come back, and it worked. Unfortunately, they weren't able to come back and win, but it has worked with some success for DePauw this year.
Again, Benjamin Fingerhut will kick it off. Let's see how it plays out here. He's ready. So is the hands team of Wabash. The ball is bouncing around. Remember, it's got to go 10 yards. It does not and goes out of bounds. It should belong to Wabash. The flag drops down. Fingerhut tried to move it along with a couple of bounces this time. He got that accomplished, but the ball didn't travel 10 yards. Thus, Wabash comes up with the football with 1 minute and 47 seconds to go. Now, it takes a real big mistake. A fumble, something you just flat don't think about. Illegal procedure against DePauw on the kickoff. And Wabash will take over at the DePauw 42-yard line.
Well, Bob, I talked to Coach Nick yesterday, and he said that the season now had been reduced to 60 minutes, the 60 minutes of this football game, and their slogan this year was 60 minutes, a lifetime to remember. Right now, this season has come down to the last 1 minute and 47 seconds, and the DePauw Tigers putting it all on the line.
The Wabash offense trying to quiet the Wabash crowd. Ings gives the ball to Cogan. Cogan strips a tackle, heads for the 35. He's at the 30. He's at the 25, and John Holloway hustles him out of bounds along with Drew Marte across the way inside the 20-yard line. See where they're going to mark it down at about the 17, I think, is where they put it down. But a big run for Cogan that could put him over 100 yards rushing today, even with the loss that he had on the one series ago. 1 minute and 39 seconds remaining. But again, DePauw trying to strip the football. You got to make the tackle. 25-yard run for Cogan. 1:39 to go. The ball is at the DePauw 17. Wabash leads 33-26. But again, when you run the football like that, you take the chance of a fumble. Again, Chris Ings bows under. Gives the ball to Cogan, same play. Cogan gets by 1, not a second, and knocked down on the sideline across the way, but the clock continues to run. Did not get to the 10-yard line, but he certainly did pick up a couple of yards on the play. And we'll see where they put it down at about the, let's see whether it's the 11 or the 12. Pick up on the play of 5 or 6, depending on where they put the football down. They put it down at the 11, give him 6 yards, second down and 4. Clock moves on, about 1 minute and 10 to play. Wabash leading 33-26. Again, it's been a very good football game, hard-fought football game by both teams. Chris Ings, man under center, less than a minute to go in the game. He gives it to Cogan again. Cogan runs to the end zone, touchdown! An 11-yard touchdown run for David Cogan, and that ices it for Wabash. That makes it 39-26 in favor of Wabash. A big run for Cogan right off the left side of the line, and the big hole was open there, and he just rumbled into the end zone for the second time today. And just an outstanding day for David Cogan out of Zionsville. There was doubt through midweek that he would play. He hasn't played. He's been a star in the ball game, and particularly in the second half. Wabash, Alex Costa will try to add the 40th point. 52.6 seconds to go. Costa out of the hold of Hefner. It's down and the kick is up. And the kick is good. So with 52.6 seconds to go, Wabash has regained a 2-touchdown lead, 40-26. Watch on the run for Cogan on the second touchdown. Again, a huge hole. Once he clears the line of scrimmage, Craig Hardesty with a good seal block. Once he gets by the line of scrimmage, there's nobody there. And Cogan is able to walk into the end zone. If that had been from his own 10, he would still be running, would have gone 90 yards. A big, big play. DePauw had to gamble. The gamble did not pay off. Wabash now with a 14-point lead and just under 53 seconds left to go in the game.
Well, Bob, no matter what the outcome of this ball game, it has certainly been a historic one here in the 100th game between DePauw and Wabash. Wabash with the lead here by 14 points, under a minute to play, as you said. And certainly we've seen strange things happen here today, but if the Little Giants do go on to win, they'll take the series advantage at 46, 45, and 9 after 100 games and 103 years. And it certainly has been one for the record books and the ages here today.
There was only one other series in college football that going into its 100th game was tied. That was Baylor and TCU this year. TCU won that game, and they have taken a one-game lead in their 100-game series as well. 52.6 seconds left. 40-26 in favor of Wabash. The Little Giants will kick it off. Jamie Kuno scored twice on pass receptions, and Bradley Hill back deep. Both have the capabilities of going the distance. Costa's going to knuckleball it. He knew that too. Ball is scooped up by Gardner. Gardner at the 30-yard line trying to get upfield, gets to about the 33, 34, and whoops, he met the Wabash student body. And they drop him at about the 34-yard line. A return of just 4 yards. That last drive, by the way, for Wabash, 4 plays, 42 yards, 45 seconds. A quick score, both big plays, all 3 big plays turned in by David Kogan. So the ball at the 34-yard line. Brian Goodman comes back in with 46.9 seconds to go. Jim Fasella, the senior, who's been out with that knee injury until the Franklin game last week, hustles back onto the field. He'll be one of the receivers. He heads wide to the right. Bradley Hill comes wide to the left. Gardner in the game. I think Ronnie Herman is in there as well. And Brian Goodman, the quarterback, stumbles but maintains his balance, drops to throw, being chased, throws the ball upfield over the head of Bradley Hill at about the midfield stripe. He was being chased by Bill Warren, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Bob, the Tigers certainly haven't played an imperfect game today. In fact, they've killed themselves with a lot of mistakes, but it has been a gutsy effort by this DePauw team. They'll end the season with a 2-8 record, but they never gave up this season, and even here in the 4th quarter when they were down by 3 scores.
Again, Brian Goodman on 2nd down, 39.7 seconds to go. Drops straight back to throw. Sets, looks, rolls to the near side, throws one upfield, caught by Bradley Hill at about the 50-yard line, and Bill Warren hit him immediately. The clock will stop for the first down, a play covering 16 yards. It's first down with 31.5 seconds to go. And Goodman has thrown the ball well, particularly after throwing an interception on his first throw and fumbling on the next possession. He has bounced back with an outstanding 4th quarter, including 2 touchdown throws to Jamie Kuna. Ball at midfield. It is first down and 10. 27.1 seconds to go on the clock moving. Again, Goodman juggles, drops to throw, sets, throws to the sideline, caught by Herman. Herman is hit and gets to the sideline, but not out of bounds at the Wabash 45. Pickup of 5, but the clock down to 13 seconds. They're going to have to hustle to get another play off. 8 seconds to go. Maybe time for one more if Goodman takes the snap. He downs it quickly, stops it with 4.2 seconds to go. The fans start out from the Wabash side of the field, but there's still 4.2 seconds to go. Security trying to get him back into the stands for one more play.
Kind of reminiscent of the Cal-Stanford game about 12 years ago when the Stanford band ran onto the field during the middle of a kick return. But they're going to get the Wabash students off the field. But, Bob, you're right. It has been an outstanding rebound by Brian Goodman, who did have those 2 turnovers on his first 2 possessions. And he's come in and really closed out his career with an excellent 4th quarter for the DePauw Tigers.
Again, he faces 2nd down and 45 yards if he's going to score with 4.2 seconds. Back to throw is Goodman. Sets up. This could be the last play of the game, and he's airing it out deep toward the end zone. The ball is batted up into the air and intercepted by Wabash to end the game. The final score from Blackstock Stadium, it is Wabash 40, DePauw 26. We'll be back after this short break. This is the Monon Bell Television Network. The Monon Bell game is over. Wabash has won it. They win by 14, 40-26. Joe Emmick, somewhere in that mass of humanity, has Greg Carlson. Joe?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bob Lamey. Victorious head football coach Greg Carlson joins me here on the Wabash sideline. Greg, in the first half, it seemed that you got away offensively from everything you'd done all year. Then you come back in the second half, and I thought the key was getting Kogan involved and using Ing's mobility.
Right. We want to get David involved in the first half, but we just weren't functioning very well. We were not very productive on first down. That was really hurting us. Yep. We utilized our weak side passing game a little bit more than we have this year, and that was pretty effective in the second half.
The defense also came up big. We remember the homecoming game against Anderson. Offense scored, defense gave up points. They didn't do that today.
No, our defense should not be feel bad about the comeback by DePauw. That was offensive failure. We had 2 possessions down in their half of the field and did nothing with the football. Our defense played a magnificent game. I salute them. They played hard all the game. They played as well as they could play today. I'm really proud of our defense.
Greg, thank you very much for your time and congratulations on a big win. Let's go back up to the booth and Bob Lamey.
It's a shame good things have to come to an end, but this Monon Bell game, the 100th, has Wabash with a 40-26 win. And Joe Emmick, it's been fun working with you. Job well done.
Bob Lamey, it's been an outstanding afternoon. Fun working with you. Big thanks to the Wabash sideline reporters, John Bradley and Brian Foley, for their work. Let's go back across the crowded field to talk to Amanda.
For Amanda Lotz from DePauw, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next year.
We saw an inspired game. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoyed bringing it to you, especially my mom and dad at Disneyland Hotel. From Gregor to you, peace.
A great football game, and it would be remiss if we didn't talk to Scott MacGregor. Scott, I know your heart's a little heavy right now, but I thought DePauw gave a great effort today in a super football game.
Despite the loss, it's an outstanding 100th game between DePauw and Wabash. The history only gets thicker, and Bob, it's been a pleasure working with you, and I'm very glad I had the opportunity to do so.
Great football game, 40-26. Let's take a look at the numbers here. And first of all, while we flash that up, a big thanks to Bill Wagner here at DePauw and also to Jim Amadon over at Wabash. Without those two fellows, we could not have done things. Turnovers, 6 for DePauw, including the last play of the game. Some of them really hurt. The 100th game is over, but it's going to live in memory for a long time. The final score will be there too, 40-26. For all of us from here at Blackstock Stadium, thanks very much. The final, Wabash 40, DePauw 26.
Ring the bell for Wabash, ring for old DePauw. Ring the bell for victory in the last game every fall. Suddenly the boys of autumn had a fire in their eyes. Blood and spit, but never quit fighting for the prize. The medals to the victor, the symbols to the school. Wabash and DePauw became a yearly duel. Ring the bell for Wabash, ring for old DePauw. Ring the bell for victory in the last game